Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Clockwork Cantina, episode 164. I am one of your hosts, Josh 902, and this is the other host of the show.
What's up? I'm DT3. Hello, everyone. How's it going? What up? What up? What up?
What's up, guys? How are you all doing today? 164 episodes of DT. We are moving right along. Won't be very long till we're at 200. You know, like it's gonna be really, really soon.
Getting closer.
Yeah. So yeah, today's show will be the usual news and stuff, what we've been up to and all that. And then in the second half of the show, we'll be talking about the second part of The Authority. I don't remember how long ago it was we read the first part, but we read the first part of The Authority, I guess a couple months ago, something like that. And we talked about it on the show, and we split it in half because it was so long. And we've read the second part over the past week, and we will be talking about that in the second half of the show. So stick around for that. That's going to be awesome. Yeah, DT, what do you say we just hop into it? What have you been up to this past week, my friend? Anything at all that you would like to talk about?
I've been watching some. Well, let's talk about the games I've been playing first of all. Obviously Fortnite. Then I have been playing some Rogue Company as well. On stream, I finally beat Final Fantasy VII Remake completely. Beat the game, and then I did the intermission DLC. So we're done with that. Great fucking game. Highly recommend everybody plays it. That was my first full Final Fantasy game, and it was fantastic. I loved it. Next up, I played The Murder of Sonic the Hedgehog, which was something.
It
Uh,
sounds like it.
it's like a visual novel kind of thing, but they also incorporate some of the Sonic stuff, like like running around and collecting rings and stuff, little mini games. So that was interesting as somebody who's not really like super into the Sonic games, but yeah. And then I've been playing I've been playing Remnant, like the first Remnant. Played some with Majin, and Lucy joined us last night as well, and it's been cool, man. Just playing through that game, getting ready for the second one when that's supposed to come out. So yeah, it's been good. And then the other thing I forgot was this past was it Friday? I played a bunch of Summer Game Fest demos, and those were pretty fun. I tried out Liza P, On Guard. Well, On Guard was the very first one. Then Liza P. Then I tried what was it? The Invincible, and then after that I played I Am Future, and then the Station game that you were playing.
Oh yeah, that's
And
right. I tried that.
I enjoyed all those for a little bit. They were all fun in their own way. Like they're all different games. So it was cool just trying out like a bunch of different games in one go, kind of. Um and I feel like I honestly might have enjoyed more of the chiller, calmer games like I Am Future and the Station to Station, because those are more like, I don't know, I don't really play those types of games too much. So whenever you do get like a more chill game like that, it's like, oh man, I don't have to worry
Yeah.
about like anything. I could just chill and take my time with whatever I want to do, right? It's at your own pace.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's a lot of fun. TV
So,
show wise, I watched Star Trek Strange New Worlds season 2 episode 1. Finally got to get on that. Great first episode, great first start of the season. And then I watched the first 2 episodes of the newest season of Black Mirror as well. Also nuts, but not as like bleak or crazy as previous seasons, but still enjoyable. And then movie wise, of course, I've been watching movies. You guys know I watch a movie a day. I also forgot to include Diablo 4 in the games I've been playing. I did play a little bit of that. So movie wise, I finished the rest of the Rambo watch. I
Oh
watched
yeah.
First Blood Part 2, Rambo 3, Rambo 2008, and then Last Blood. And then moving on
Wait,
from that, I
can I put you
watched
on the spot for 1 second
the
about the Rambos, DT?
sure.
Out of all the Rambos you watched, which one did you like the most?
I feel like I kind of like Rambo '08 the most overall.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Like I don't know, I kind of enjoyed more the more like modern like Rambo movie, even though he was like when he's like shooting motherfuckers and they just start like getting literally shredded into pieces, and
Yeah.
like all that stuff is great. I love that.
Okay.
And then like in the newest movie, that third act when he goes ham is yeah, that was fun too.
I was just
But yeah,
curious.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. And then apart from the Rambo watch, I watched the new Flamin' Hot movie. The Hot Cheetos movie. So I watched that. It was all right. And then I was like, I want to watch some DC stuff. So there's a DC animated universe for movies that starts with Flashpoint, and then I believe is like Justice League War, and then some other stuff. But I've been kind of making my way through that. Started a long time ago, so I didn't rewatch the ones in the beginning, but recently, as a couple of days ago, I watched Son of Batman and then Justice League Throne of Atlantis, and those are pretty cool. I really like the Justice League Throne of Atlantis voice cast. There was a lot of recognizable voices in that for me. Like, for example, Josh, fucking Sam Witwer plays Orin in that, and Matt Lanter plays fucking Aquaman, which I was like, oh damn,
So
that's
I've actually seen both of
crazy.
these movies. Funny
Ah,
enough,
okay. And then so
in the past.
yeah, awesome.
Uh,
Cool, cool. And then Son of Batman, just seeing how much of a little shit Damien is.
right.
But makes sense. He was trained by Ra's al Ghul and all that. But yeah, finally getting to watching these, man. I got a long way to go to catch up with the other ones, but slowly but surely making my way through them. And that's pretty much what I've been up to. Um, yeah.
All right. Okay, for me, games wise, I played the Final Fantasy 16 demo, which is actually like just the first part of the prologue of the game. And that shit is wild, not to spoil it, but it was pretty cool. That's up if anybody ever wants to go see that on my YouTube. I completed Horizon Zero Dawn, the base game. I didn't do the DLC or any of that yet. I'm not gonna have time to stream that stuff. I may just do it on my own time, or I may just get a wild hair and fucking do it one day on stream. Who knows? Just keep an eye out if that's interests you. But I completed the story. It's good to kind of get the main part of the game off the backlog, and pretty happy with that. I've said for years I was gonna play it and get it done, and we did it. DT, we knocked one off the list. Can
Hell
you
yeah,
believe
dude.
it?
Finally. There
Thank
you go, man.
Christ. After that, I did a couple demos. I did the station to station demo because I was like, that looks neat. A voxel little train puzzly game, and I like it a lot. It's kind of fun to kind of chill, hang out and chat and look at all these cool trains and stuff. So that was fun. I didn't stream that. I just played it offline. And then DT played demos, and he was like, that On Guard demo is pretty good. And I was like, you know what? Let me try that. I want to see how it is. Because, like, for me, it's like one of those things that's like, that looked kind of neat, but I don't know if I'll try it. And then DT tried it, and he said demo's good. So I was like, you know what? I will try it too. And I actually like that demo a lot. It makes me a lot more interested in that game. And it's pretty cool. So if you haven't tried any demos, you should try them. For sure, for sure. And the Steam Next Fest is going on right now, so there's a lot more demos out there to try too today. I just looked at Steam earlier, and it was like, yeah, Steam Next Fest is now, so that's pretty dope. Played a bit of Diablo 4, but I've been really laggy when I've logged into Diablo 4 lately. Like, not my internet laggy, like the game servers are laggy. And it makes it really hard to play the game, like where you're just sliding around like an ice rink skater. Like, it's not, you can't get anything done. Like, you'll lag out, and then just when you unlag, you're dead too. So it kind of blows. And then we played Blasters and Bandits on Saturday again. We had the full crew there this time. We got to play some tabletop RPG stuff, which is good over on the Heroes and Fables channel. Make sure to go follow that channel if you don't already. If you want to watch us do tabletop stuff, and it's good that you guys, the crew, completely surprised me with how they handled what was supposed to be a combat encounter. And I'm not going to spoil it any more than that. Go check those VODs out if you're interested in to see how they turn the table, so to speak, on would-be ambushers. It's pretty cool. And then Strange New World season 2 episode 1. I really enjoy Strange New Worlds, like, a lot, and I really like that first episode a lot, and I'm really excited for the rest of the season a lot. So yeah, that's kind of all I've been up to this week, besides reading the comics. And I'm trying to think. I don't think there's really anything else. Like, most of my days were playing Horizon to finish it up stream wise. So I feel like last week was fucking busy. It feels so busy to me. But yeah, DT, are we ready to move on to our main topics of the week? Or not our main topics of the week, the usual topics of the week, which is our news sections.
Yeah, I'm ready to do the news. Main topic is still a bit away, man.
Well, the main topic of the news, but yeah, let's hit it. I'm on the gaming news.
First thing we got here is that gaming mega publisher Embracer is going to be closing some studios and cancel some games after a $2 billion deal crumbles. The Embracer Group has close to 17,000 employees over more than 100 studios, many of which were acquired over the past few years. Swedish gaming conglomerate Embracer Group, which has been rapidly gobbling up game studios and popular IP over the past few years, will undergo major restructuring that will require the publisher to close multiple studios and cancel several games. The news comes weeks after it was reported that a deal worth $2 billion in income to the company had unexpectedly fallen through. CEO Lars Wingfors announced the restructure in an open letter alongside an investor webcast and news release on Tuesday morning. He said the restructure is split into 3 phases and is expected to continue until March 2024. The nature of these phases is unclear, and under the general guise of cost savings and consolidation to reduce debt below 10 billion Swedish krona, which equals roughly $930 million. Matthew Karch, the now former Saber Interactive CEO and current interim chief operating officer, said, however, that the first phase of cost saving will be immediate and noticeable. This means that an unknown number of Embracer Group's 17,000 staff will be laid off as a part of the process. Neither Wingfors nor Embracer Group have detailed when specific closures or layoffs will happen. Uh, it's too early to give an exact forecast on this, but it'll be lower by the end of the year. Wingfors said in the letter. Karch said studios will be closed. Studios that will be closed are underperforming or not creating games up to our standard. Bracer Group said that the impacted projects have not yet been announced and have low projected returns on investment. They currently own the rights to both Tomb Raider and Lord of the Rings. Earlier this year, they announced that there's 5 mystery Lord of the Rings games in development by external partners. The implication of the news release is that any announced game is safe from the restructuring plan, or at least will not be canceled. Karch also said in the webcast that the games canceled have, for the most part, not been announced. Crystal Dynamics also put out a statement on Twitter to confirm that neither its upcoming Tomb Raider game nor Perfect Dark will be impacted by the restructuring. We know we need to be exploiting Lord of the Rings in a very significant fashion and turn that into one of the biggest gaming franchises in the world. And that's obviously something that we're going to do, that we're going to be doing. That's a much better use of our resources than some of the other projects that some of our teams have been working on. Embracer Group's two big acquisitions are not on loan. The publisher also owns Saints Row publisher Deep Silver, uh, which has spent the last years consolidating the video game industry by buying up studios. Since 2020, Embracer Group has acquired or founded well over 50 game studios and offices. It's part of the larger trend of seismic acquisitions and consolidation in a span of a few years that saw GTA publisher Take-Two Interactive buying mobile giant Zynga, Microsoft's planned acquisition of Activision Blizzard, and Sony's buyout of Bungie. Embracer Group also expanded into comics and tabletop games, buying Dark Horse Comics and Asmodee, respectively. It appears, however, that Embracer Group's rampant buying spree may have happened too fast and now is struggling to keep up with the responsibility and cost of its purchases. They had a $2 billion mystery partnership plan to help bail it out on top of its $1 billion investment from Saudi Arabia's investment fund that fell through at the last minute. That news forced Embracer Group to lower its earnings projection down to a range of 655 million to 840. So a lot could be happening here. They did say that a lot of the games that are going to be canceled though are stuff that we don't know about, but also I imagine that at some point in the near future or, in the future in general, we'll probably hear about some cool ass game people were working on that we're going to be bummed about that we didn't get.
Mm-hmm.
But kids, this is why monopolies suck. Because they buy up all this shit, and then when they can't afford it, they're like, "Oh, we're just gonna close them down because they're not doing well, or
And
they're not
then
doing
they'll fire
what
a
they want
bunch
to
of
do."
people, which sucks.
Yeah,
Sucks for those people. Which I hope anybody that does get laid off, goes on to form their own studios and finds work in other studios in the industry and puts out great, amazing work. It's always a bummer when that happens, you know? Yeah.
yeah, I'm sure they'll be all right though.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's crazy, man. I was wondering too, like, I mean, they had just been like buying up all kinds of stuff, and it seems like it finally, affected them.
Yeah. For sure. For sure.
All right, anything else to add to that before we move on?
Nah, I just said it sucks. But I think they already established that. Uh,
All right, moving on to Starfield. According to Bethesda, according to an Xbox executive, the Bethesda game Starfield will have the fewest bugs of any Bethesda game. Xbox apparently gave Bethesda plenty of room for a long QA check. So, according to Matt Booty, head of Xbox Game Studios, Starfield will have the fewest bugs of any game from Bethesda, or from bugs of any game that Bethesda has ever shipped with. Uh, So here's Booty's full quote. Working with Todd Howard, Bethesda Game Studios creative director, and the team, I see bug counts, and I'll just say that by the numbers, if it's shipped today, this would be have the fewest bugs of any game from Bethesda has ever shipped with. So that's kind of a interesting statement there.
that's a
I'm
bold
not sure how many
statement.
I'm not sure how many bugs previous Bethesda games have launched with, but if he says this one's gonna have the fewest, I hope he's right, and I would kind of see it making sense the way that they've fucking delayed this game for so long.
Yeah.
You would hope that something like this would be the case, right?
Well,
Um,
well, what's funny is like previous Bethesda games are always a little always a little buggy when they launch, and it makes for some quite funny things to happen. Like you know, you're on the cart in Skyrim and then suddenly it starts flying away while you're on it, you know, like just some funny bugs. It almost feels like it's not a Bethesda game if you don't get a few bugs in there. But the way like one, the way they've delayed it, like you said, to work on it so much, and two, I'm sure Xbox is giving them all the support that they want because because they want this to be a massive success. They need a win, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if that is the truth. Like they really are working. It probably will have the least amount of bugs of a Bethesda product, mostly because they're getting, like, I'm sure cash infusions from Xbox to pay and hire more people to squash bugs. So yeah. Yeah, and Bethesda is kind of notorious for having a lot of bugs in their games at release, just because of like the sheer size of the games they do, right? Like even the Fallouts, the Elder Scrolls, not the Bethesda's, God, the Elder Scrolls games, like those games are so big, it's just really hard to kind of capture every single bug in previous things, previous releases. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if it's true. I think it could very well be true, though. With the way they've been working on this thing.
Yeah. Also, before he said that, Phil Spencer said the team has definitely matured. They've got Fallouts and Skyrims and Elder Scrolls under their belt. Truth be told, when the acquisition closed, this game has significantly earlier ship date than we were actually launching it. And he said, or they said, sitting down with Todd and the team and explaining that we want to give this team the time. I think Matt says that we have every QA person in our entire company playing Starfield right now, looking at bug counts, looking at quality, where we have or where we are, is what Phil Spencer said. So yeah, that seems to be why they've delayed the game twice. They really, you know, they really need this win right here, man.
Mm-hmm.
Which honestly, I hope it is, dude. I really want this game to do well and be good, and
yeah,
you know, it looks very promising, and
we're the same, well. DT. Like we don't want to waste our time on garbage, right? We want to waste our time on, not waste our time, but enjoy our time on fucking fantastic shit. So that's for sure. I agree completely with you. For sure. All right. If that's all on Starfield DT, what do we have next?
Next up, we have Overwatch 2 Season 5 launching with the D&D inspired fantasy theme. There's a little trailer for it right here. And then there is a little graphic. So let's check this out in 3, 2, 1, go.
Everyone excited to play Role Heroes? Emily's been working on this campaign for ages.
So this season has already started, by the way. For those wondering, it started on the 13th, so about a week ago.
Do you have your characters ready?
Come face me. Shall we get started?
I haven't been playing as much of this game anymore, but I might give this season a go just to see how the new skins and stuff look.
My arm is in rough shape after that last fight. I can't believe we still haven't had any random encounters. You roll this time. My dice are cursed. I can't face the Demon Lord with rubbish gear.
Let me show you how it's done.
We must press our advantage.
Fucking Reinhardt looking like something out of Diablo.
Right.
You can't stop me. Hammer down.
Look at me go. Tick, tick, boom. defeated the Demon Lord, but can we keep playing?
I'm on fire! My ultimate is ready! I am unstoppable!
Prop hunt game mode. Mischief and magic, huh?
Only human.
Time for mischief and magic.
Experience always wins in the end.
Everyone brought their sunscreen!
Oh man. Okay, I do like Lucio Ball. Not gonna lie.
Mm-hmm.
Might hop on for some of that. Some of that stuff looks cool. And the
Yeah.
skins look pretty neat, but I have to look at them in game, but at the same time it's like it's another battle pass that I won't be getting, you know?
Yeah.
Cuz fucking every game now, especially Blizzard, I feel like they're just charging you for every fucking thing.
For
But
sure.
that being said, some of that stuff does look cool. Let me see. There's a little graphic image here.
Oh yeah.
Let me see what that holds. Let's see. So season 5 obviously began a week ago. You can get Mythic Adventure Tracer. It's Battle Pass stuff. Quest Watch. Journey through a Battle Pass story. So apparently the Battle Pass has a story stuff now. All right. Animated short in-game premiere on August 4th. Winston's Beach Volleyball and Lucio Ball return on July 11th, so that's still about a month away. Prop Hunt begins on July 25th. And then the Demon Lord stuff started already as well. So some interesting limited time events and things. So yeah, I guess that is kind of what they meant by adding some PvE stuff that you have to pay for. But also there's gonna be more than just that, I believe. But anyway, I mean it's cool, but it's just a shame that like you have to pay for everything now.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I used to play the shit out of Overwatch 1, but with the second one coming out and them just doing it the way that they have, it's like I really haven't put in as nowhere near as much time, which is a shame. But well,
Yeah. I don't really have a lot to say on it because I never even really played a lot of the first Overwatch, and the second Overwatch seems to be like a lot of folks don't seem to be very happy with it. I haven't tried it, so I can't really say a whole lot on it.
that's fine. We can move on to the next thing, which is an Atlas Fallen gameplay overview trailer.
Yeah, I thought this would be cool to check out. I threw it in here. I've already seen it. I watched it the other night, but I thought it'd be cool because I'm kind of interested in this game, and it's kind of neat. So let's check it out, DT.
Yeah,
How about it?
it's been kind of on my radar. I haven't seen it, so it'll be my first time watching it. So let's check it out.
Yeah, okay. I'm ready.
All right, 3, 2, 1.
Take up the gauntlet. Liberate mankind. Destroy the Sun God. This is Atlas Fallen. With rediscovered power comes hope for humanity. Enslaved for centuries and worshipped to Thelos, you finally have a way to fight back and grow from one of the unnamed to champion of the people on Atlas.
Come, Gauntlet Bearer.
Meet your gargantuan foes with an arsenal of powerful, magical weaponry and skills that turn enemies to dust again. Don't want to cross the deserts alone? Bring a friend to experience this massive
man,
action
co-op.
RPG in seamless
Hell yeah.
drop-in, drop-out co-op.
I like that too. Drop in, drop out co-op. That's nice.
Mm-hmm.
Atlas was not always the home of wraiths and buried ruins.
Come, up with you. We have to move.
Up with you.
Thelos, the sun god, stripped its people of everything. Homes, lives, even their names. They are forced to dig and mine and sift through the wreckage of our world for essence, a magical substance that is raised to his glory.
It is mine. Thelos demands it.
You are but one among these millions, venturing across the
Oh, damn,
sands to
character
deliver essence
customization?
to the capital.
Yeah, we get to make our
Stumbling
dude or
across the
lady.
gauntlet opens
I
up
don't
a
know
new
about
path
that.
for you and humanity. The ability to explore the realm, brimming with things to discover for the eager adventurer and people who need your help.
We've been walking for hours.
I wouldn't complain. We're lucky enough the passage didn't collapse on us.
Crossing the land with your newfound powers is a much easier task than before your discovery. As you explore and empower the gauntlet, your abilities will evolve, letting you fly through the air or glide across the dunes as you see fit. Along the way, submerged structures, chests, and secrets will beckon you to discover them and restore more of the world. Much has been lost, but maybe not forever.
When will you learn? You are unnamed for a reason, and no one will ever notice. One more dead unnamed.
Atlas is a dangerous world, and for the rebellious, even more so. Wraiths stalk the land, eager to shape your grave from the endless dunes. Smaller enemies are quickly dispatched with your ever-evolving weaponry, but stay on your toes for the legendary creatures that will bar your way. Each is a massive and terrifying beast that will take all your skill, guile, and unique strategies to defeat. Every enemy has weak points, joints, limbs, or other places where the liberal application of force can yield great results. Targeting these and choosing the right ones at the right moments is key to success on Atlas against its many foes.
That's a big fucking hammer.
When I heard the stories about this gauntlet bearer, I knew we would cross paths again.
Well, a lot has happened, but let's get to someplace safe.
The gauntlet means the sands themselves become your weapon. Each strike creates momentum, building to a mighty shatter attack that crushes your foes. This gets more and more powerful as you fight, leading to a titanic finale of destructive power. Mix and match the Dune Cleaver, Sand Whip, and Knuckle Dust with more than 100 Essence Stones to build a playstyle that is truly your own. This provides a myriad of combinations of active and passive skills to experiment with and find the best way to bring down each monster you face. Whether you intend to impale your enemies, live through the most devastating attacks, or unleash aerial combos, there's a style for you. Essence Stones are found all over the world.
That armor looks cool.
improving from smashing parts off your enemies, as well as being specifically crafted by you to get the effects you want. From fluid playstyles to big hits, perfect blocks to dodges and rolls, you determine every part of your build. Exploring and experimenting is half the fun. If that all sounds overwhelming alone, you're in luck. Atlas Fallen supports co-op play with a friend for its entire campaign.
Cool.
A satisfying challenge on its own, in co-op, the possibilities for character builds and team-up attacks are limitless. Execute unique combos and build synergies to even the odds and take the fight to Thelos.
That's a big ass hammer, man.
Yeah, it's
Rise
huge.
and conquer the gods in Atlas Fallen. Coming soon on PS5, Xbox Series, and PC.
All right, DT, what do you think? Curious to your thoughts on that.
It's interesting. I like the co-op. Jump in, jump out. You can play the whole story in co-op. I did not realize that this game would have customization like that, so that's cool.
Yeah,
I like that. So that's pretty neat. Yeah,
cool.
definitely
Um,
something that I had kind of like my eye on.
Yeah.
So I definitely seeing this. I'm like, okay, I definitely would give it a try at some point. Like I feel like it's something that would be kind of fun to play around with and mess around with for a little bit.
So I thought it while watching it, but as I look at some of the comments in the YouTube video, they all say it, which is like this game reminds them a lot of Kingdoms of Amalur, and it does me too. When I watch the gameplay overview, like the something about the kind of the style of it makes me think of it. Which I like. I like Kingdom of Amalur. What little bit of it I've played, so. And I am interested in this game. The issue is like there's a lot coming out this year, and it's all coming out in that time period. So it's like I may not play it on release, but I'm sure I'll get to it eventually one day because it does look kind of cool.
Yeah.
Definitely on my radar.
Yeah, I haven't played Kingdoms of Amalur, so I gotta. It's another one I need to try out at some point. I think I have it. I just gotta.
I think you like it. Yeah.
Wait, do I have it? I don't know. I don't know if I have it or not. I gotta check. Kingdoms of Amalur. Okay, I need to get the re-reckoning because I don't.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway. Cool. All right, we got another trailer here to watch, right?
We do.
The Aliens Dark Descent story trailer.
We sure do. Let's check it out, DT. I'm ready when you're ready.
This one's 2 minutes long. 3, 2, 1, go.
I understand. The pain.
Welcome, Administrator Hayes.
Any news from Lacey Hayes?
Sorry, sir. We're having a hard time reaching anyone. What the hell was aboard the Bentonville?
What are you talking about?
Something got loose and killed.
It appears that these creatures have been stored on a communication system.
Why would they do that?
Oh man, they coming.
Mm-hmm.
Oh Lord, they coming.
Everyone's dying in there.
We'll cover you. Shut that door! Shut that door!
The things he found in that mine, what they could mean for pharmaceutics.
I wouldn't want any of that.
Then think about the revenues these creatures represent.
I could stop them. I am so sorry.
I'm afraid I can't permit that. Nothing in, nothing out.
Where's my daughter? I can't tell you. Where is she?
Someone's screwing with me.
This whole planet's a freak show.
Time to shine, Corporal! Get us out of here! She is our bridge to a better humanity.
He's here.
Them Xenos just walked past that dude. What the hell?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Sorry. Majin, I'm not sure if it's like Helldivers because it's been a hot minute since I played Helldivers and I kind of forgot how it looks.
This is more like XCOM, isn't it?
It is and it isn't because XCOM is like turn-based and this is I think real time. So like there is no I take a turn and then the aliens take a turn. This is like everything's kind of happening at once and you're controlling like a squad instead of one soldier. You're controlling like a squad of soldiers. So similar, like you get to make your soldiers and stuff, but it's also a little different. Reviews for it are coming out now, by the way, and because it literally unlocks in an hour. Like it literally releases in an hour, and apparently the story is good and interesting. However, there are some tech issues with the game, so it's kind of getting 7 out of 10s and 8 out of 10s in terms of like scores. So while I was excited for the game, and I still am very interested in it, I'm gonna wait for those issues to get fixed up before I make it like a priority. But it looks super interesting to me, and I do want to try it out at some point. But yeah, it's probably like a lot of similarities set to XCOM and possibly Helldivers as well. I can't wait to hop in there. We'll make DT, we'll make Majin, we'll make Yorko, we'll make the whole crew, and then they'll all get abducted by aliens, and then we gotta go save them. I'm sure will happen a lot.
But nobody will do worse than 5s, because that's how it always goes down. Right?
We won't make it. Yeah, he'll never make it. No matter how hard I try to keep him alive, he never makes it. It
always has to be him.
Always ends badly. Anyway, DT, what we got next?
Last piece of news here for today for the gaming news, gaming section. That is Rockstar Games co-founder Dan Houser reveals new studio called Absurd Ventures. So he was Rockstar's vice president when he announced in 2020 that he was leaving the company behind and was he had been taking an extended break starting in the spring of 2019. His last day at Rockstar, which he co-founded with his brother Sam Houser in 1998, was March 11th. Now, 3 years later, Houser has revealed Absurd Ventures. The studio is focused on building narrative worlds, creating characters, and writing stories for a diverse variety of genres without regard to medium. To be produced for live action and animation, video games, and other interactive content, books, graphic novels, and scripted podcasts. They have a little trailer here. I'm not sure what it is, but I guess it's just saying what they're about. If you want to check that out real quick.
Yeah, sure, we can.
Yeah, let's see what this is here really quickly. 3, 2, 1, go. Lots of interesting imagery here.
Right?
Crash test dummies and whatnot. Oh man, grilling food. I like how on the bottom right they're like actors, not actual employees.
Right.
Even with the pigs, bro, come on.
Well, DT, I gotta say, that's one of the weirdest music videos I've ever watched.
Interesting. So they're doing more than video games, obviously, but yeah. Sounds quite ambitious.
Yeah.
The fuck did you just watch? You watched a bunch of you watched an amalgamation of images and sounds and things put together.
Yeah. Okay. What do we got next, DT?
We got TV news. That's what's next.
TV news. Let's hit the TV news then. I have swapped over our screens to the TV news.
We're gonna start off with a trailer. Guess what? We have a trailer for Winning
Hey!
Time season 2.
I like season 1.
Over on the former HBO Max, now just called Max. Let's check this out. In 3, 2, 1, let's go.
My friends, the future of sports is purple and gold.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is time.
Bum, 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 bum.
Magic and the Lakers are back to defend their title.
What a time to be alive. It's my fucking time.
You can't have the money, the power, and the love, Urban.
How about this for a headline? The greatest who ever lived. He's a goddamn Celtic.
Ain't nobody scared of Larry Bird. Sit down there, relax. Put on a show just for you.
They've won their rings. We've won ours. None of it meant shit. Because it wasn't against them.
This is survival of the fittest. It's not about basketball. It's about winning.
Win on 3. 1, 2, 3, win!
That is what I'm talking about.
Hell yeah, dude. That looks great. I enjoy the first season a lot, and I think I speak for DT when I say fuck Boston.
Yes. Always and forever, fuck Boston.
That this was one of those shows that surprised me when we first watched it. Like, I wasn't sure how much I was gonna like it, and I ended up loving it, and it made me a lot more interested in basketball than I was before, because I never really was before even. So it's pretty exciting. I can't wait for this next season.
Yeah. It's one of those shows that, like, as somebody who actually knows kind of the history of the league and the sport and kind of how stuff went down, it's like it's not the most accurate, but it's entertaining.
It's entertaining.
You watch it for that mainly,
Yeah.
And I enjoyed it. Like I say, it gave me that scene where everybody was like, "Fuck Boston," and that's always a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Good stuff. I just I must have missed it at the end there. Like, did it have a fucking release date?
I didn't see it either, actually. Oh. August 6th. It says August 6th. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So we'll get to watch that right before Ahsoka. Cool.
Yeah.
Another TV news: the Sonic the Hedgehog spin-off series Knuckles at Paramount Plus has added 5 to the cast, including Christopher Lloyd and Carrie Elwes. Carrie Elwes from The Princess Bride, Robin Hood Men in Tights. Christopher Lloyd from The Addams Family, Back to the Future. Rob Hubel, Children's Hospital, Bob's Burgers. Paul Scheer, Black Monday, and Veep. Stockard Channing from Grease and The West Wing have all joined the series. and Idris Elba will voice the character once again, just as he did in the Sonic the Hedgehog 2 film. Uh, Others uh include Adam Pally reprising his role of Wade Whipple, Edie Patterson, Julian Barat, Scott Mescudi, and Ellie Taylor. Guest stars include Rory McCann, Tika Sumpter, with her returning as Maddie. Cool. I think the movies have been pretty decent. They're fun little like video game movies. So I'm very curious to see what the show will be like. Pretty decent cast list here they're building up as well. So not bad for a Knuckles TV show spin-off series.
Yeah.
Have to be giving that a shot when it comes out because like I said, I've enjoyed the movie, so why not? And this is like saying isn't this is me saying it's not even the biggest like Sonic fan, I'm just like movies have been fun though.
Yeah.
We got some Netflix news. We had the Netflix Tudum event happen over in Brazil this past weekend. And we got there's a bunch of trailers and news from there, but I only jotted down a couple things here like Netflix's Avatar: The Last Airbender live action. We got a first look at the series. They tweeted out some images and then there's a little like first look that they posted as well. And let's take a look at these images first. So we got Avatar Ong. I'm just kidding. Avatar Aang there. Which looks pretty spot on, I would say.
Yeah.
He looks pretty good. He looks young as hell though, but he looks I forget how old Aang is supposed to be in the series, but I mean he looks pretty much the way he's supposed to, in my opinion. Then you got Katara over on the next slide. Very uh warm with the whole fur, on the costume there. You think 10, 11, 12? Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Like somewhere around there. Couldn't remember like the exact age, but anyway, that sounds about right. Katara, which the actress looks a little slightly older than Aang. And then you guys on the next slide, Sokka, which I, I don't know how you feel about these costumes. I think they look pretty decent for the most part, but if I had one complaint about this, my complaint would be that they look too clean.
Yeah.
They don't look like they don't have the wear and tear, like the dirt and the grime that you would expect them to have.
Mm-hmm.
That's my only really complaint. I know some people are like, "Oh, they look kind of like cosplay outfits or whatever," and I'm like, "Well, I can kind of see that, but at the same time, I don't think they look bad either."
I think the
It's just
shoulder
for me
pads on his looks a little not.
on Sokka.
They don't look that good, really. But I like the rest of it. I like the rings on the armor and all that. But something about the shoulder pads is a little off for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think, like I said, I think for me they look too clean. I feel like they should be more like the costumes should feel like you know they've been around and not just like, oh, let me just I just put this on and it looks fresh and brand new.
I got you.
And then at the end you got Zuko wearing the armor and everything, which again, I feel like this one though, out of all of them, I would really say that makes more sense for it to be cleaner than the other ones, but I don't know. I think overall, I think they look decent. They look
They look
fine.
fine.
Yeah, they look fine.
He's gonna have this helmet on for like 5 seconds, and that's my biggest issue with this outfit. Is the helmet looks a little silly, but I think for the most part, it's fine.
Yeah. But I am curious about the show. I love the animated Last Airbender series, so very curious to see what they what else we have from that as well. But yeah.
Yeah. I'm cautiously optimistic.
And then we have a little mini 50-second video we can watch here as well.
Sure.
Little teaser.
Check it out.
3, 2, 1, go. Oh man. All these logos all together, combining and clashing. Oh shit. The Avatar, The Last Airbender.
Next year. Okay. Cool.
Not much there, but I'm looking forward to seeing that next year. In other Netflix to them news, we got Stranger Things info in that Linda Hamilton is joining the 5th and final season or 6th season. I don't know what season are we on Stranger Things. I don't know, but the last season of Stranger Things, Linda Hamilton is joining.
Gotcha.
It was announced at the fan event. She appeared via a video message at the event. Was introduced by her Terminator co-star Arnold Schwarzenegger, who was in Sao Paulo, Brazil, to announce the renewal of his series Fubar. But yeah, Netflix announced in February 2022 that it would end with its 5th season. So I was right the first time. This season 5 is the last one. And I feel like she's gonna be good in this. Like I feel like this is a good choice. I don't know what she's playing or anything like that, but I feel like she fits in with what they're trying to do here. Like I totally see her working.
Yeah.
In this. So it'll be curious to see who or what she plays. Yeah. Pretty cool.
Last thing I saw her in was she was in that show with Alan Tudyk, The Resident Alien. She plays a character in there. So, yep, should be
I think the
perfect
last thing
fit
I saw
for
her in was the
Stranger
last
Things.
Terminator movie, which was not great.
Yeah, no, I did not see that.
It's not great. I'll tell you that.
Okay. What we got next, DT?
And then one last thing we got here is there's a trailer for the live action One Piece. So I have not seen the anime at all ever because it is a massive undertaking, and I don't no, you're just not gonna. I don't see myself ever watching that. But
same.
But I do like pirate shit, and I'm curious about this trailer. So that is the biggest reason why I included this in here, is I just want to see some cool pirate stuff. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for. So let's check out this One Piece teaser trailer.
All right.
3, 2, 1, play. Let's see.
Ever since I was a kid, the sea's been calling. So, I'm setting out to follow my dreams. I'm gonna be king of the pirates. All I I need is a loyal crew.
And I think together we'd make a pretty good team. We're heading up to the Grand Line.
A treacherous stretch of ocean with bigger islands and bigger pirates.
Wow.
Careful with that.
I don't work for you.
I'm sensing a little bit of tension amongst the crew.
Not a crew.
We haven't sailed together for very long, but I know we've got each other's backs.
Bro, his arm. This man is Mr. Fantastic, bro.
No, they don't.
August 31st. Okay. Again, I don't know shit. I don't know shit about One Piece. So I don't know how accurate or anything like that this is to the actual anime or the manga or whatever. But I like pirate stuff, so I might check it out just to see how it is. You know.
Yeah,
Why
I'm
not?
kind of the same. I might give it a shot. I might give it an episode or two, see if it wins me over. But I haven't I've never really been attracted to like the anime or the manga at all, just because I don't necessarily like the designs of the characters. And I haven't watched really any of that type of stuff in a very, very, very long time. So, look, why not? Why not give it a shot? Give it a try. See how it is. Like, it could be cool. You never know.
I watched the Cowboy Bebop live action thing, and I didn't think it was that bad compared to the. I mean, obviously the anime is gonna be better, but like, just I didn't think it was as terrible as everybody made it out to be. And I I actually watched it. So anyway, that's the to dumb news we got for now. Interesting things are brewing, right? It's gonna be a lot to watch, dude. You're talking about a lot of video games and stuff this year. It's a lot of TV shows and movies this year too, man.
Yeah.
It's a pretty big year for just media in general.
Oh, Martian.
It's called to dum because it's the noise that plays whenever you play Netflix stuff.
Yeah.
You know, the little dum. That's why it's called that. But anyway, moving on to the movie news. If you're ready for that.
I am. Let me pop over that screen. There we are. We're ready. Movie news.
All right. Are you ready to hear about movies that won't be released for fucking years from now?
Let's hit
that's
it.
the first thing that we got. Disney has pushed a gang of movies forward in the future in time. Avatar 3 has been pushed to 2025. 2 Star Wars movies are coming out in 2026. And the Avengers films have been delayed. So the Disney has a slew of high-profile changes and additions to its theatrical release calendar, including a date for Moana, moving up Deadpool 3, and pushing the 4th and 5th Avatar films 3 years each. So again, 2 Star Wars movies coming out in 2026. Avatar 3 is now 2025. Avatar 4 will not hit theaters in 2029, followed by Avatar 5 coming out in December of 2031.
That's right.
Meaning 4 and 5 will now open 3 years later than previously announced. Other highlights include Deadpool 3 now opening on May 3rd, 2024 instead of November 8th, 2024. So that one actually moved up. Also, for Marvel Studios, Avengers: The King Dynasty has been pushed up a year to May 1st, 2026. And Secret Wars, which has been pushed a year to May 7th, 2027. The live action Moana has a date of June 27th, 2025. 20th Century has added another installment in the Alien franchise, dated for August 16th, 2024, with filmmaker Fede Alvarez behind the feature. They've also added the Rami Malek thriller The Amateur to November 8th, 2024. Where Lucasfilm has not had a Star Wars feature in theaters since 2019's The Rise of Skywalker. Obviously, this April at Celebration, they teased the theatrical future, including a Daisy Ridley New Jedi Order and Dave Filoni's The Mandalorian kind of Heir to the Empire, culmination finale, and then The Dawn of the Jedi from James Mangold. But Lucasfilm previously announced a movie on December 2020, or from December 2025 to May 22nd, 2026. The Ridley feature is the furthest along in development and is likely to open on that date. And curiously, Lucasfilm revealed also that it has added a new feature just 5 months later on December 16th, 2026. And another movie on its current date of December 17th, 2027. They also, going back to Marvel, Captain America Brave New World has moved back around 3 months to July 26th, 2024. Thunderbolts has been pushed 5 months to December 20th, 2024. Blade likewise moved 5 months to Valentine's Day of 2025. And Fantastic Four moved back 3 months to May 2nd, 2025. So lots of changes, Josh. What's the thing or the few things that stand out to you the most from all of these crazy changes that have been?
Well, Blade being moved to Valentine's Day is weird.
Don't you want to take your honey boo boo to go watch some Blade and vampire, killing and
yeah,
craziness?
if anything, that makes me worried about Blade. Like that's really odd to put it there. I feel like for Valentine's Day,
I feel like it'd be odder if they put it in January. February doesn't bother me as much, but you're right though. It is a weird spot to put it in.
It's still
I'd be
really
more
early
worried
too,
if it was
though.
January though, because January is
Yeah.
kind of the month where movies go to die. But you're right though. I do agree with you. February is a weird spot to put this movie, but we did have Ant-Man come out this February as well.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess we know how that turned out, but I mean, it's not uncommon for them to have movies in February, I guess is what I'm saying.
I guess, but man, Blade feels like a summer movie to me. If I was like, it's an action, it'll probably be like actiony, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I assumed it'd come out in like November or October or something,
Yeah,
But,
yeah. That
I don't know.
Really, just about any of the other stuff that we say will make sense because February is so weird to me.
And not just February though, but on Valentine's Day exactly.
Exactly. That's it. It's like that's odd. The Avatar things I don't care about. Really at all.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they're not my favorite movies, the Avatar movies. I've watched both of them now. I think my biggest issue with the Avatar movies is that they're too damn long. If they weren't as long as they were, I wouldn't mind them as much. But let me tell you, dude, after having rewatched the first one recently, it was like 2.5 hours. And then the new movie's like 3.5 hours. I'm like, bro, there is no reason for these movies to be as long as they are. I don't know why James Cameron insists on making these so long, but they don't need to be that long.
An alien thing could be cool.
Yeah, we've heard about that one in the past. Fede Alvarez, the guy who did the Evil Dead remake, is working on it. I mean, obviously other things, but that's the one that comes to mind for me immediately. That one could be interested. I'm curious on what their take is. We've heard casting, updates and that over the past couple years. The thing that intrigues me the most, obviously, being a Star Wars fan, is the fact that we're getting 2 Star Wars movies in 2026.
Yeah.
We're getting one in May time, like how they used to come out back in the day, and then one in the modern era, which is like December, right? That's kind of how they've been coming out. So we're getting 2 in a year, which I don't think we've had that ever. So that's
pretty exciting.
crazy.
Cool.
It is.
Mayhap.
Yeah, it makes me wonder which ones they're going to be. I mean, we've had so many. I mean, obviously the new Jedi Order, the Daisy Ridley one, is probably going to be one of those. But then what's the other one going to be? I don't know. Like, is it going to be the, one of the ones they announced? Like, is it going to be the Filoni one or the James Mangold one, or is it going to be like the Taika one or some of these other ones? I don't know. See,
I don't know.
no idea.
Looking at all these dates, it just makes Blade stand out to me even more. Like if you sit here and look at all the dates, right? It's like here's a lot of summer, here's a lot of spring, here's a lot of December, and then Blade Valentine's Day. That just feels so weird when you look at all these other dates.
Yeah. The other thing about this though is like since these are still a few years away, I could see them changing again. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they
could be
change shit all the
placeholder.
time. So yeah, it probably just they move them there for now. They might move them again. I mean, we know they move shit all the goddamn time. So these will most likely be changed again at another point.
Yeah, it's true. It's like when we do our show at the beginning of the year, right? Where we're doing the breakdowns of like, here's all the games coming out, here's all the movies coming out, here's all the TV shows coming out, and then it just all changes like within.
Yeah, because nothing ever stays the same, from when we talk about it to now. It's like it never is that. Like it'd be interesting to go back and like for the go rewatch what they were at the time, and then go back now and be like, man, that's so different.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for sure.
Anyway, we can move on to other things. The next thing we have here is that the new Batman film. Actually, no, I'm getting ahead of myself. We have a teaser for the next Disney Pixar movie called Elio.
All right.
So let's check this out. It's 2 minutes long. So let's do the countdown in 3, 2, 1, play.
Disney 100.
For centuries, we have called out to the universe, looking for answers. In 2024, the universe calls back.
Bring us your leader.
Hi, can you hear me?
Honey,
Now is a really bad time.
Okay. Bye. I love you. I love you. I love you. This is new. No. Whoa.
Please state the name of your homeworld.
Earth?
welcome, leader of Earth. We
Leader
are
of
the
our
united
Earth.
advanced species of the universe.
I think there's been a mistake.
You're not the leader of our Earth?
Sorry for the mix-up.
Commence memory wipe.
No!
Oh my god.
I am the leader of Earth.
Why is your voice different?
I've always talked like this since I was a kid, which I'm obviously not anymore. But yes, I run the planet.
The trial of Earth can proceed.
Trial?
Until then, as you say on Earth, okay, bye. I love you.
Okay.
Bye. I love you.
Bro.
You're the talk of the communiverse.
If Mom could see me now.
A
I know what you
communiverse,
mean.
huh?
I ate my mother at birth, but in moments of great success, I regret it.
That's a thing for your species?
No, just a me thing. Everyone was shocked.
Wow.
Well,
Okay. What did you think of that, Josh?
I think the visuals will look cool and looks fine, I guess. But I don't have any really strong feelings about it, to be honest with you.
Okay. I think it looks fun.
I
But
thought
think
Elemental
that
looked fun
most,
too, so I haven't seen that yet.
Yeah, I gotta check that one out too. because that looked interesting also. Yeah, I feel like I'm generally positive on most of the
Yeah.
Pixar movies. It isn't until after I watch them that I'm like, oh, well, that wasn't as good or whatever. But for the most part, like whenever I see something like here in a trailer or whatever, I'm usually pretty positive on it. Like they don't
Yeah.
really look that bad or anything.
I think the visuals are gonna look cool because like I showed off some of that, like that frozen wave and a lot of that galaxy stuff. You can do a lot of cool visual stuff with that and make it like
Yeah.
really gorgeous and beautiful. So that looks cool. Yeah, I'm not negative on it or anything. I'm just I need to see more type. I mean, it looks cool.
Alrighty then, we can move on to the next thing, which is the new Batman movie, Brave and the Bold, has landed Flash director Andy Muschietti. He's going to be suiting up to direct Batman, The Brave and the Bold, which is a project based on the comic series by Grant Morrison, part of James Gunn's new DC universe. The comics feature or imagine a Bat family where Bruce Wayne's biological son Damian serves as Robin to his dad's Batman. Muschietti's sister and creative partner Barbara will produce the project via their label Double Dream alongside Gunn and Safran. So they really must have liked what they did with Flash to go ahead and give him the reins of the new Batman movie as well. So that'll be interesting. See what they can do with that. I'm very curious to see who they're gonna cast in general for the whole universe.
Mm-hmm.
Since we're really in the early stages of that, I mean, we kind of know what some of the plan is for the first part of it, but we still don't know all of it in its entirety. And they're kind of narrowing down casting choices of who they're gonna get. But I'm just really curious because I'll tell you right now, dude. Like, if you had asked me like a few like years ago, like I probably would have had a better idea of who to cast. But now that some of these people are getting older, I don't know who you cast as a Batman or as a Superman or any of these guys because I don't know, man. It's tough.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Be interesting for sure.
Yep. I definitely want to see the Flash to see how they did with that one. Try and get a better idea of what they maybe could do for this one, but yeah, we'll see. In other news, Mortal Kombat 2 has added a few other people to the movie. Martin Ford, Desmond Chaim, Anna Wynn, and Damon Harriman are all joining his new faces for New Lines sequel to 2021's Mortal Kombat. At the same time, they've also closed deals to bring back cast members of the first movie, such as Louis Tan as Cole Young, Jessica McNamee as Sonya Blade, and Josh Lawson as Kano. Returning are Tendabu Asano as Lord Raiden, Makad Brooks as Jax, Ludi Lin as Liu Kang, Shin Han as Shang Tsung, Joe Taslim as Bihan, and Sub Zero, uh, Hiroyuki Sanada as Hanzo Sashi and Scorpion, and Max Wang as Kung Lao. Carl Urban, Adeline Rudolph, and Tati Gabrielle, who have marquee roles in the sequel, have also joined. let's see if it says who these are going to be playing, the new cast members. Ford will play Shao Kahn. Kayam plays King Gerard. Win does the role of Sindel, and Harriman will play Quan Chi. So there you go.
Interesting. I like that 2021 movie. Like, is it a perfect movie? Nah, but it's got good action. It's got a lot of gore, which is Mortal Kombat, and our boy Yorko knows Shao Kahn apparently.
Yeah, Martin Ford. That is okay. That is a big ass dude. He is. This man is 6'8", by the way.
Ooh, that's a big man.
He's a big motherfucker, dude. You weren't lying about saying he was a unit, Yorko. That's a big fucking guy.
So he seems to be like at least body size wise the perfect choice for Shao Kahn.
Yeah, he's a bodybuilder, so yeah, makes sense. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Crazy. It's a big dude, man.
That's a big man.
All right.
Oh, he was in the same.
So yeah. Yeah. Any stuff to say on the casting, Josh, for Mortal Kombat? Because I know you're definitely the bigger Mortal Kombat guy between the two of us. I know you enjoyed the first movie as well.
Yeah, like I said, I like the first movie. Like, I know a lot of people don't like necessarily the character of Cole Young, but I like the actor that plays him. I like Louis Tan.
He seems like a good guy. Yeah.
Yeah, I follow him on Twitter and stuff. He seems like a cool dude. It's gonna be really interesting because they're throwing in Carl Urban and he's gonna be like Johnny Cage and shit. So, I don't know. Could be fun. Could be. With Mortal Kombat movies, you never really know. Is it gonna be good or is it gonna be a hot dumpster fire? But the cast seems to be good with that. So we'll see. I guess waiting to see. Yeah, Mortal Kombat's cool. I hope it's good. I don't want it to be bad. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
I don't hope for the failure of anything, especially something I'm going to spend time on. It's something I care about because I actually do like Mortal Kombat a lot.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Sweet.
Let's move on to the next thing here, which is official Red Band trailer number 2 for Joyride. Remember we watched the first one? You actually showed this movie to me because I didn't know about it.
Mm-hmm.
But now we got a new trailer, Josh. So are you ready for this new Red Band trailer?
Let's check it out. I'm sure this will be great.
All right, here we go. 1:49. 3, 2, 1. Let her rip.
Let her rip.
Best friends trip. This is gonna be iconic.
You would like that? You do understand this is a work trip for me.
Audrey, I got you. Look at me.
You're thinking about a dick.
Damn it, you're right.
Look at me, look at me, look at me now. I love
Bro.
a grand adventure. I heard that if you keep up with Chinese businessmen, they respect you more.
Ew.
Listen up, listen up. Oh my god, you're a drug dealer? You gonna plug or you gonna play? Is that a condom? You look like you've had a lot of things in your asshole. Not a lot of things, just one thing, but maybe different varieties of that one thing. Look at me, look at me, look at me go. Stick your hand up there.
Bro, this looks nuts.
Get the stuffed bear.
This looks so ridiculous.
This is wild, dude.
Just a garbage American who only speaks English. And a little Gollum. My precious little filthy orbitses. Do you guys have that here?
Yeah, we have. It's all over the world.
Let's just be adults.
Are you horny? Sex isn't shameful. It's beautiful. Like the noises.
Is that Baron Davis? What the fuck is he doing in this? What the fuck is he doing? What the hell? What? What the hell?
There's some whores in this house. There's some whores in this house. There's some whores in this.
I'm not racist. You don't like boba and you never fucked an Asian guy.
Damn, still?
When I masturbate, I sometimes fantasize about Splinter. He's Asian.
He's a rat.
He's a good father.
What the fuck, bro? He's a good father. Oh, great.
My
Okay,
God.
cool.
That looks
bro.
ridiculous.
That movie looks nutty. I can't believe Baron Davis is in this. What the fuck is he doing in this movie, bro? For those of you wondering who the hell, but he was a former NBA player. I'm just like, what is he doing in this movie, man? But the rest of that, wow. Holy shit, dude.
I kind of want to watch that. I mean, I'm not going to go to the movies to watch it, but I kind of want to see that. It looks funny.
Yeah, okay. Oh man. Yeah, maybe Majin, but I'm just like I don't know if he's like, I don't know he was acting now or I don't know what he's up to these days, but man, that's wild. That is crazy. All right. Well, cool. Cool. All right, Josh, we got some posters and some videos to watch, right? To close out our movie news here.
Yeah. First up, we have a poster, I believe, of Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon.
Yes.
Which this is supposedly going to be like, Zack Snyder was supposed to do like a Star Wars movie. It didn't happen, so he's now doing this for Netflix. It's going to be like his take on it a little bit. So here's the poster for that.
I think looks pretty decent.
I think it looks interesting. I'm really curious to how this is going to be and how this looks. I like I like the whole poster deal here.
I dig the poster.
Interesting. I am interested in that movie. There's more color in that poster than his last 5 movies combined. Well, maybe this will be a super colorful movie for you, Majin. And then after the poster, we have a little behind the scenes thing, I assume from the Tadum. That I have not seen this yet, but I threw it in here because I was like, it's 2.5 minutes. Let's take a peek at it.
I haven't seen it either. And
so
I am very curious about this movie. So I want to see it. Let's do it. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
It's a ship.
I thought I knew what a big movie was. Until I came onto this.
This movie, for me, existed elementally for 20 years. It's a story of a few against many, impossible odds, good versus evil. I'm getting a chance to tell a story that I've been thinking about for quite a while.
I was really excited about Zack. I just really value and admire his enthusiasm for the craft.
I hadn't quite anticipated the physical requirements of this.
We had a solid 2 months of preparing the body to get to that place. I've never trained that much.
I mean, it is gargantuan.
I just really wanted to make a giant atmospheric and space adventure.
It's so big. So ambitious.
We get to traverse the darker corners of this universe.
We'll have a huge anticipation for this film. It's amazing.
Something so powerful that you just want more. And it's only the beginning.
Interesting. Very cool. Yeah, I've been curious about this
Neat.
movie for a very long time. Like ever since, you know, it was said that this was supposed to be like his Star Wars movie, but you know, it didn't happen. So he's like making his own thing now. The other thing we should keep in mind is that this is not only going to be a movie, but they're also working on a video game and like I think potentially just making it into like a whole universe here. So
Yeah.
from what I've seen though, looks awesome. Definitely can't wait to check it out. We'll have to wait till the end of the year, basically though, in December.
Yeah.
But yeah, I dig it. I think it has potential, and I hope it does well because I'm down for another cool sci-fi, you know, fantasy adventure. You know, I'm about it.
I'm the same. I think it looks really interesting and neat. To see the Snyder's what Snyder would do with a Star Wars similar property. But yeah, a lot of stuff they showed in that behind the scenes looked really cool. Looks like there's some martial arts. Looks like there's some sword fighting. Looks like there's some bad space Imperial types. It looks interesting to me, and it is on my list of things I would definitely want to check out now. So that was cool. Also, I was not expecting that little tease at the end with like, this is a done part of the movie from the looks of it, you know, with the ships and stuff. So definitely interesting for sure. Okay. Are you ready for what's next, DT?
I am, my friend. Let's do it.
Well, are you craving for a look at this poster, DT?
I actually saw this when it dropped earlier today. Only the poster though. I have not seen the trailer. But
I haven't seen the trailer either. I've seen the poster. Here's the poster, you guys. For Kraven the Hunter. The villains aren't born, they're made.
Yep.
Yep.
There's Kraven the Hunter, played by Aaron Taylor Johnson. I mean, he's got the look. I mean, he's got the like fucking, you know, the jacket with the fur on it, and you know the pants and the gauntlets. So honestly, not a bad look for the character as a whole. Now, that being said, who knows what the movie's gonna be like, you know? So with that, we should watch the trailer.
Let's check this trailer out.
This is a red band trailer, so it's gonna be, you know, obviously a red band and not the green band, so it's gonna be a little bit more extra than you would expect from a green band. So let's check it out. Ready?
I'm ready.
3, 2, 1, let's go. His hunt starts now because fuck you. We're playing the trailer before the trailer. Paula was in because of the poster, and now she's out.
She's out because of that one scene.
My son, never show mercy. They are prey. We are predators.
Russell Crowe.
I forgot he's in this.
Boys,
I did too, to be honest with you.
She died because you sent her away. She was weak, sick in her mind. You know my business, yes? Power is about strength. If you show weakness, you will give our enemies an opening. Shoot. Shoot.
Oh, fuck that, dude.
Oh man, getting mauled by a CG fucking lion.
What happened that day?
I stared death in the face.
Oh, he turned into Charlie Sheen, bro. He's got that fucking. He's got that dog in him, that blood.
Tell me about this hunter.
It ain't tiger blood though. This is lion blood.
The connection with animals to track his prey. And once you're on his list, there's only one way off.
There's 6 of us and only one of you.
There's 6 of you now.
Oh God, he bit that dude's nose or eye or whatever. What did he bite?
I think it was the nose.
Evil into the world.
Damn.
I take it out.
You were crazy, motherfucker, dude. The kills are gonna be brutal.
You are exactly like our father. Just another man hunting for a trophy.
We're murderers. Isn't that what he taught us?
You don't get to do that to me anymore.
Mr. Taglin? Mr. Taglin? Where's Mr. Taglin?
Oh, you're standing in him.
You're a goddamn lunatic.
Oh, you just figured that out now?
All right, Craven the Hunter.
There is an animal in each one of us.
Don't you want to know why they call me the Rhino?
The Rhino? Huh. Okay.
All right.
So, what'd you think of that?
I don't know. It looks okay, maybe.
It looks decent, honestly.
It makes me. I still feel like it's. The Sony movies always kind of strike me as like this is early superhero stuff for them. You know, like those early superhero movies for them. I don't think it looks terrible. Yeah. But I can't help but notice like a lot of the CG work that happens with those kills and stuff like that. I can't help but like, I don't know. Maybe it's something that'll be obviously refined as we get closer to a release on it, and I just can't help but notice it in the trailers. It looks okay. You know, I don't think it looks bad.
Yeah, I'm kind of like Yorko, man. I'm in it for the gore and the blood and the kills and all that kind of stuff.
No, I got you.
Yeah. But there it is, man. We finally got to see a look at the film. It's something that we've been hearing about and we've known about for a while. So finally getting to see what it looks like, yeah, is interesting.
Yeah, we've heard about it for a while. It's kind of cool to get a look at it. We've seen
another one of the films in the Sonyverse, right?
Yeah, well, we'll see, I guess.
Yep.
Okay,
but
DT.
That'll do it for our news for the week. You know.
All right, guys. That's it for the news. We're gonna take a quick little break, and we'll be right back after this to talk about our main topic of the week, which will be The Authority Part 2. So I'll run some ads. Break on YouTube will be instantly, so we'll be right back after this. Don't go anywhere, guys. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Clockwork Cantina podcast, part 2, where we're going to talk about a comic book series that we've been reading over the past little bit. Part 2 of it, called The Authority. All right, DT, we read the first Authority. Let me look at when we read the first one, because I'm curious now. I can just pull up the old podcast feed here and scroll down to find out. We read the first part of this back in March. I have it as March 22nd, but I could have been late on posting the podcast. But it was in March, around there. Yeah, it was that week. It would have been on March 20th. So, we read the first part of The Authority. Now, I had a hard time getting into it at first with that first part, and then it kind of won me over into the second half of that first volume that we read, and then I liked it. I'm gonna be honest. I'm before it, right? I hate the second volume of this comic series, DT. How do you feel about it? I'm genuinely curious to how you feel about it. And I don't want to be overly negative either. Like I'm not a negative person. We're not negative people on this show. But there are things I definitely don't like about it.
So I definitely don't like it as much as the first half. There are some choices and decisions that they do that I'm not the biggest fan of in this second half. I don't know if I hate it as much as Josh does, but yeah, I wouldn't say it's the best either. Like there's just some stuff that they do that we'll get into that I'm like, man, I feel like that first whole part that we read, the first 12 issues, was like such a good stopping point because it it ends at the new millennium and has a pretty, I don't know, it's a good stopping point. And then but then we continue and then where we're at, and it's something. It's something, all right.
All right.
One thing I will say though, I think I said this when we read our first 12. I can totally see why James Gunn is into this weird ass shit though, man. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess so. So
but
what do you want to start with,
ahead.
DT? What do we want to start with? No, I was just gonna ask you, what do we want to start with necessarily here?
Well, the first arc is what I was going to go into, but
okay, let's go into that. Let's hit that. Well, I was gonna go into like the art overall because I find it highly inconsistent and despise it. But let's go ahead and go in with that first art.
Wait, you want to talk about that? Then we'll do that first because
all right.
I was just gonna go into like each arc, but yeah, go Phil, go ahead.
I have found the art in this series throughout every issue. Obviously, it's not going to be consistent between every issue. It is not consistent between fucking panels, I feel like. There was a set, poor Majin. Majin, I'm so sorry. We have a channel set up that we talk about comics. Like Majin will recommend us a comic to look at or to read for the podcast, right? But I didn't want to spoil like DT because I was reading a little bit before DT got started on it. And I was like, I don't want to spoil DT. So I started DMing Majin on Discord. And I sent him this poor child, this poor baby that exists in the Authority Volume 2. That is does not look like a baby at all to me, first off, and at least in that early issues with the baby. There are 3 panels in a row, and that baby looks different in every fucking panel. Like I was DMing Majin. I was like, Majin, they don't know how to draw a baby. They don't know how to draw a baby. And this is like a thing in comics, apparently, I guess, where people don't know how to draw babies. There's a baby that is the most inconsistently drawn baby in the same comic through, like, it just like, look at this baby. All right, I'm going to throw up an image. Now, is this a baby or is this Uncle Charlie at the family reunion shrunk down? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to be a shitbag or anything, but what is this? What is this art? What is this? This looks terrible. It looks awful. All right, the same comic issue here. Looks a little bit like Slappy the Dummy. This is the next panel, by the way, with this baby in it. Looks also a little different and inconsistent once again. This poor child. Look, I don't need to harp on this all day. I just don't like the art. I found it woefully inconsistent. Also, I am going to show one more image because this is the baby later. What is this? No, what is this? Who draws a baby? What is this? This is terrible looking. This is awful. I don't get it. Like, I'm sorry. Go back to baby drawing school because this was terrible to me. And maybe I'm being overly harsh. Maybe I'm being an asshole. Maybe I'm being a jerk. But I am gonna point out the things that I do not like, and I do not like the art in this at least in the second half, because this is like volume 2, basically, right? Like, or not volume 2. The second half of volume 1, or whatever they're fucking called. I get confused on comics because they split it in half. The first little 12 issue, this is the second 12 issue run, or after 12 issues, because this runs longer than 12 issues. I have found the art woefully inconsistent and just bad. and I didn't like it like at all in terms of that aspect of it. DT, how do you feel about the art?
Josh didn't like it so much that he didn't even put it as his background for today's episode. He's like,
that is right.
Final Fantasy 16. We're not even talking about Final Fantasy 16, but I'm gonna keep it because I don't like the art for the Authority.
So I didn't. So the reason I did that was just to be like, I didn't like the Authority really at all, and I didn't want to be like, I'm gonna have it back there, even though I don't like it. As I talk shit about it, it felt kind of dirty to do that. So I just put up Final Fantasy because I didn't know what else to put. It would have been nothing, I guess. I've been in the darkness, but that's why there's no photo of the Authority behind me. We almost always put photos behind us of the main topic, but I didn't. I chose not to this time.
I try to keep it with the theme of each episode.
Yeah. I decided not to do that.
Yeah.
I did argue with myself over it.
I also am not the biggest fan of the art. There is some shots where or some frames where you see the faces of certain characters. I'm like, what is going on with these faces right now? Like if you go through them and you look at the panels and when they do close-ups on characters.
You mean like
they
this?
have certain yeah, like that. I'm like, what is up with these faces? Like,
what did they do to poor Jack? What?
Yeah, it's I think you're right though. It's very inconsistent with how the characters are supposed to kind of look from frame to frame, and then the baby Jenny is one of those that every time you see her she looks different. It's like, does she have hair? Does she not have hair? The face is looking different. Is she supposed to? I'm like, she's supposed to be Asian? Is she not? Like, what's going on here? I can't tell. But
yeah, it's
you're totally right on that. Yeah,
yeah,
is not the best, the art in that's for sure.
Okay, we can whenever you're done with the art, the art. DT, by the way, we can just move into that first arc.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Okay. So we're both not fans of the art.
The first arc of the second half of the next batch of issues that we have here is called the Nativity arc. So the next 4 issues are going to be all that. And we start off in Southeast Asia. The carrier is docked somewhere up above, and down on the ground they see a bunch of refugees that they're wanting to be taken in. The Authority is all over the news and magazines, and they're like all everywhere, right? They're all over the world media wise. And they're doing interviews and stuff, and I think Jack is the one that says this, but he's like, how can you expect us to save people from extraterrestrial threats but turn a blind eye when genocide is being perpetrated by earthbound dictators? And there's a good moment where Jack is like toasting over Jenny's grave, and then the doctor who comes in is like, well, Jenny may not be as dead as we thought.
Mm-hmm.
Because she was a spirit of the 20th century, but then what happens is that she becomes reincarnated for the new 21st century. On the carrier, Jack is having conversations with the U.S. president, and about overstepping, and then we go to the hangar, which is like one of the U.S.'s secret military command centers, which in the little quotations they say that its whereabouts are 42 levels above presidential clearance, which I'm like, what the what is that even? But they found a source of a Jenny quantum in Singapore as of January 1st. And then we get introduced to this character called Dr. Kriegstein, And all I could think of when I saw him, especially from the back, I'm like, look at this fucking mini Supreme Leader Snoke over here, because he's bald and like deformed, and like there was just one frame where they have him like from behind. I'm like, that just looks like a mini Snoke, dude. Like, what the hell?
Right.
But in Singapore, a savage strike force takes out some innocent-looking children looking for looking for Jenny, the golden child, as
Yeah.
they say.
They just dump out a bunch of babies on the out of like a fucking high story building, which just felt gross.
And then the doctor is running around with the actual child as he gets surrounded by the other team, and then you got a giant man that appears out of nowhere, and that ends that issue. So, starting off again, having read this first issue, what'd you think of just that first one?
So I was like, okay, we're gonna. I was kind of getting into it. I like Jack as kind of like the leader of the Authority at this point, because I like him kind of taking more of a leadership role, and I thought that's interesting. Okay, like I can deal with everything is a normal Authority thing up to a point. And the part that really bothered me in the issue is like when they just throw out a room full of babies off like a fucking second floor and just like destroy them. And I'm just like, man, that feels, and that could just be a me thing. Like it made me feel kind of gross to read that, you know? It made me a little uncomfortable, which didn't really happen that much there's a lot of things in the second part of the comics, the Authority comic series as a whole, that just make me in general uncomfortable. For sure, but that's where it kind of started to lose me, and then I was like, oh, look at this fake Iron Man, and this fake, obviously supposed to be Captain America, and this fake Thor, you know, like it's it kind of lost me there, and I don't know if it ever gets me back in any of the later issues, but obviously we're talking about the first issue, so you know, I think I said the last time we did this series, like I really like the Doctor as a character. I thought he was an interesting character, and that's pretty consistent with this first issue. The things I find about him are still interesting, at least with this first issue. But yeah, I thought it was an okay start, and then they threw out a bunch of babies, and I was like, well, that feels kind of gross. But they're being super edgy, so why not throw out a room full of babies, I guess.
I felt like that was pretty consistent with some of the stuff we've seen from them before, though.
Yeah, it just made me feel not very good.
I gotcha.
Which is a totally a me thing. That's what they're going for? Okay.
All right, so that's the first issue. And then the second issue obviously continues that with number 14. So then going back to your point, I was like, these guys are basically just the anti-Avengers, because you got,
right.
You know, like you said, you got not Captain America, not Thor, not Hulk, not, Iron Man.
Not Scarlet Witch.
Yeah, they're self-proclaimed America's premier super team. So they're trying to convince the Doctor to kill the baby, but then Titan, who's like the big, not Ant-Man, the big giant dude, takes down a plane, and then like baby Jenny like lights the fucking area up. And there's just like they're all shielding up, and shit's going down. And back on the carrier, Jack orders a team meeting to tell them about what's going on in Singapore. And then when we go back to there, Titan loses both of his legs from the baby's attack, and then the team's directive changes from search and destroy to recovery. As the rest of the Authority arrives, and then they fight this anti-Avengers team. Over back in the hangar, Kriegstein explains that this baby is much more powerful, displaying abilities so quickly because it took the original, or Jenny Sparks 19 years to begin displaying them. And he wants to capture the baby because so they can shape the next 100 years into whatever they desire. Apollo gets, like, I think, knocked down, and the engineer is trying to help him out, but not Hulk grabs her before she can, and like she's like shooting at him, uh, and trying to like put some damage into him, but he takes the beating like it's nothing, and then she basically just flies him into outer space, and dude just starts bloating up until he explodes. So that's one less dude to worry about. The doctor has the baby in hand, but wants to help Jack fight. But Jack is like, you know what, dude? You and this is all while meanwhile, Jack is saying this while he's holding somebody's fucking head, like in his hand, and he's like, you know what? I'm gonna beat him to death with it. And then the doctor leaves with the baby. One thing that I found really interesting about this, like, is at the very end where the Midnighter emotionally damages fake Iron Man into a hug, and they kind of split off as fake Iron Man leaves his past life behind, and then like they just leave, and then fucking Jenny is able to make it back. They managed to retrieve Jenny again and go back to the hangar. Well, I mean, hold on. What I meant to say was that they take Jenny from the doctor and they take her to the hangar while the team loses contact with Apollo, as the doctor's like, the game's up. So, they're in trouble now because they've captured the baby. But that's basically the gist of chapter issue number 14. Any thoughts on this one, Josh? Because for me, like I said, the big moment is the Midnighter just emotionally damaging fake Iron Man into giving up his past life. I was like, that is nuts, dude. That's crazy. That's probably the most wild thing that happened for me in that issue.
Yeah, it's definitely like, of all the ways I was expecting it to end, it was not Iron Man hugging Midnighter.
Yeah.
It was definitely like, huh. That's a choice. I'm trying to find the line. I feel like there's a line in here where he's like, "I bet you've never even been hugged before," or something like that, or held. You've never been held before, have you? You've never even been held, have you? Yeah, that's the one. It's kind of interesting because Midnighter, especially later as the series develops, is like, and even in the first parts that we read of it, he just kicks ass all the time and never really. He's just an ass whooping machine, like that's what he does. But he actually talks somebody down in this issue. I do find that kind of interesting that they went with that choice here.
I was like, for all the crazy shit that this series does, I'm like, that's very interesting that they went that way with that. Because I mean, I didn't expect it to go that way,
Yeah.
So yeah, that was cool.
For sure. Doctor shows up with a bloody nose. I have the comic open on the side as we're kind of going through it, just so I can kind of remember what's happening. Because I read a lot in a very short amount of time. So
I got you. Yeah, I understand. I tried to spread it out. Like, I read like an arc a night. It's kind of how I was doing it.
I got you.
I
got the art of the Doctor is horrible. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about how that art looks. It's
well, I don't even mean that. I just mean his character. It's like just so ugly. Sorry, I should say. Because I went ahead to the next issue. Yeah,
we can move on to the next issue.
Wow, so he really does look like Snoke. Holy shit! I didn't even think about that till you said it.
I'm telling you, dude. I that's all I could think of as I was looking at Creasy. I'm like, this is just Snoke. But I'm like, yeah. So my first note is he really does look like a short, big-headed Snoke.
Yes, he does.
But in Singapore, the Midnighter holds Apollo as the news reports 5,000 dead and up to 20,000 injured in one of the worst acts of superhuman violence in living memory. The team watches the news, and Jack, seeing how all this bullshit, lies, and misinformation is being spread, wants to contact the four corners of the earth to let everyone know what's really going on. Basically, his message all over the world relays the message of truth, and giving the U.S. military kind of an ultimatum, gives them an hour to decide what the next course of action is going to be. The doctor and the engineer infiltrate a base. While back on the carrier, the Midnighter asks when the refugees will have political asylum, and then checks in on an angry Apollo. Angie, the engineer, finds out that the team they fought in Singapore, they're actually a Cold War unit called the Americans, who disappeared in 1989. And Kriegman was snapped up by Eisenhower by the end of the war. She also states that there's hundreds of superheroes in every major city in the U.S. is being defended by a hangar. And they just continue to explain Kriegman's backstory with Bush and, etc. The doctor explains that they're the competition in regards to why they needed the baby. And then Manhattan has been evacuated, while Paris, Berlin, Beijing, and cities all over the world witness Kriegstein's international attack, and another superhero team arrives kind of out of nowhere. And that's kind of the gist of that one. So as we continue this arc, what'd you think of issue 15?
It was fine. I don't really have a lot to say on this issue, to be honest, for the most part.
Yeah, it's just another one in the...
It's kind of like a setup issue. That's a lot of backstory.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. That's fair. You're right. Yeah, I thought it was fine as well. Like just learning, I think it was like learning the name of the anti-Avengers. They're called the Americans. And then
yeah,
Kriegstein's backstory was the more interesting stuff in that for sure. All right, well let's move on to 16, which is the last episode of the arc, in which superhero teams are simultaneously attacking capital cities all over the world. The Authority splits up and kind of takes one country per person. You got some good old racist attack in Paris. Then you got Jack, the king of cities, ordering the city. I like how he's like, I've ordered the city not to take any more nonsense from you piss ants.
I do like Moscow, Jack a lot. His power set's really
Jack
cool.
I like, he's being the king of the cities. I like, going back to what you said earlier, I like that after, how Jenny was the leader in the first, 12 issues we read.
Yeah.
Him taking over as leader, I think it makes a lot of sense. And I think he's a pretty good, not replacement, but like successor is the word I'm looking for. He's like a good successor for leadership. But yeah, in Moscow, the doctor, takes care of business with the locals, and in Beijing, the engineer is like, yo, it's too late to save Chinese Congress, but I can, distract the invasion force to let local emergency teams rescue those that are trapped. She's calling, or she wants him to call Christine to prime every mask on the planet for help. And she also wonders if anyone is in Washington, which Apollo arrives in DC shortly afterwards. And in the hangar, Kriegstein talks about his devised revolution, where the governments of the world are simultaneously erased and replaced by his hand-picked personal executive. Back in Manhattan, the Midnighter gets the armies in position for the carrier to attack, and Apollo goes fucking ham, just soloing all these enemies in DC.
There's a cool panel of him when he lands. The art's not good, but the moment is dope, where he's like there with like a bunch of fire behind him, and he's coming out of this trader in front of the White House, and he's just like, hello again. I do like that panel. And I think that is a pretty dope little entrance that he got to have because he kind of got beat down a little bit in those previous issues.
And then the last thing I have for this issue is that Swift attempts to convince Kriegman to join the Authority. And then at the end of the arc, Tankman, which is, you know, the Iron Man, not the fake Iron Man, thanks the Midnighter for sorting his life out as he details what he's been up to since Singapore. So I'm like, what a nice guy, dude. He not only gets convinced by the Midnighter to change his life around, but he sends him a letter to be like, this is what I've been up to since he's helped me change my life. So I was like, that's nice. In such a crazy ass comic series like this, I'm like, that's a nice little moment that is very, very rare in something like this, you know?
I also find it interesting that they recruit the Doctor. Like, they don't kill him or throw him in jail. They're like, come join us.
They just straight up like recruit him, yeah.
So those are kind of the positives for me in that issue.
So that's the Nativity arc. What'd you think of this arc overall? In general, I think I'm gonna tell you right now. I think this might be, of all of the arcs that we read this time around, might be the one I like the most.
I think I agree with you. Like, as I sit here and like think about it, I think I agree with you like completely. I think it is one of probably the best arc out of these next that we're going to talk about.
Which is a shame because we still have a couple more arcs to get through, and it only gets worse from here, in my opinion. But I think Josh agrees too. Yeah, I know. Yeah, but so so the next one is the Earth Inferno arc, which starts with issue number 17. And we begin in Rome, where a storm brews and begins destroying the city. The carrier European Union sends a multinational response team for the humanitarian crisis. Apollo and the engineer are on their way to help as well. In Chechnya, Swift speaks to invading forces, telling them to stand down. Over in LA, Jack and the engineer talk about their contributions to helping cure cancer. Then he has a conversation with the Midnighter about some stuff. Over in the UN, they speak about the meteorology abnormalities the world has seen recently. According to the WMO, the world's seen more hurricanes, typhoons, and earthquakes in the last 21 days than the previous 2 years total. Then suddenly they spot something in the middle of the Atlantic. Over in Sydney, Jack and the Midnighter are still discussing the whereabouts of the Doctor and his wife. They find him, and then they find him OD'd in bed. They call upon the engineer, but they get a condition red priority from Swift that everyone is needed in New York. As we see the USS John F. Kennedy get overtaken by a massive tsunami wave, which then also overtakes New York, and that's where that issue ends. So Josh had a little bit of a frustrating little thing there. So what's up, Josh?
So I like the character of the Doctor in the earlier issues. They make him like he's already. I mean, I know he's like a recovering drug addict from like the first issues. Like that's not a big deal. But it feels like I feel like this. Like I don't feel like it really sets up him having a drug overdose at all. It's just like he's disappeared with his wife, who we've never heard of, and and is a pop star, and they're looking for him, and then they find him, and he's OD'd on drugs. Like, okay, I guess, and it only gets worse. I don't think it gets any better. To be, and look, I'm not saying it couldn't happen. Obviously, like you never really, drug. It's a sickness, right? It's something you've never cured of. You fight it your whole life, addiction, right? And I just didn't particularly like how they did it here, especially since I thought the character of the Doctor was a really interesting character for having to deal with his addiction while also having the power of all these like ancient, I think shaman is the term they use in this other universe that gives him his powers, right? I don't know. I just feel like they did a bad job of it personally. So that's why I just kind of went like, I don't like this. Like it's a little rough for me.
I gotcha.
Also, the art is really weird at the start of this comic. Did you see Apollo's face? What'd they do to his face?
I mean, I said this earlier, man. There's a lot of these issues where I'm just looking at the characters' faces and close up and stuff, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on with these faces, dude? Like, I don't. That was the thing that threw me off the most. Like, I know you mentioned the baby, but for me, I'm just like reading the issues. I'm like, these faces are terrible.
Yeah.
What is going on here?
It's like 1 minute they look 20, 1 minute they look 100. It is cool to see Midnighter out of his costume, though.
Yeah, we got to see that basically for the first time, right?
I'll give that a positive on this issue, I guess.
All right. Well, we can move on to the next issue if that's it for that one.
Sure.
Number 18. In New York City, everything and everyone is underwater. People are confessing things to friends and others that, you know, probably wouldn't say unless you're about to die. And Swift is trying to save those who she can, along with many engineers, and they've managed to teleport many New Yorkers on the carrier. Jack tells Christine they've been spying on her, and Jackson asks about the doctor, but Jack tells him he's in a coma in Sydney. Midnighter reports to Jack that he's out of the game still and facing permanent brain damage unless they can get him breathing again. Midnighter's blood is crazy. In Grand Central Station, the engineer tells Apollo she wants the doctor out of the team and is not willing to debate it. Apollo then tells her that he would have cleared it up by clicking his fingers if he was around. Then something else is going on with the tectonic plates being pulled apart under Northern California, and San Francisco needs them. They send that in all evac order in all languages from San Jose to Berkeley. Angie and Shen make sure the area is clear. Apollo sticks with Jack, and a swarm of insects arises in the sky, and they literally eat the flesh off of people while Apollo is in the volcano. Angie swoops in to help in a major way. Apollo deactivates the volcano, and they attempt to find whoever is responsible for all of this, as Christine is sending a list over to Jack that he will relay to them. Then, as the issue's about to end, we are going to Before Christ LTD, which is like a weird-ass location. Midnighter is ready to interrogate the previous doctor before the current shaman, as he tells them that they've never faced a bastard like that before. But yeah, so that's the end of that issue. So
Here,
thoughts on
guys,
that one.
allow me to read one of my favorite parts. And maybe this is what this comic's going for, but I obviously despise this. It says, this is a comic book panel of the two firemen, DT. I'm sure you know these two guys that are trapped underwater in Manhattan. Here, allow me to read this for you. He says, "Oh, geez, Billy. I can't die with a guilty conscience. I used to pee in your coffee every morning. I've been boffing Diane since Disneyland, and the son of a gun who took a dump in your favorite helmet was me all along, buddy." And he says, "Who cares? I love you, man. I've loved you from the moment you swaggered into the station in your snakeskin boots." And the other firefighter's response to this is, "What?" Which is my response to who wrote this dog shit. Because that line is terrible. That whole fucking section, maybe it's what they're going for. It's fucking stupid if it is, to be frank with you guys. And I don't like it at all. It is moronic and juvenile and very childish. And I feel like you could do so much better in the world of comics. And I despise it with authority. And this is also the issue with the very inconsistent baby drawings. On top of like the continued weirdness with the doctor and his heroin overdose and Midnighter giving him blood and to fix all that or whatever. I think that's this issue.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah. So yeah, that's, boy, let me tell you, I really love this issue. The art of Apollo swimming in lava is pretty neat. I like that. And the bug thing is kind of metal, like eating the flesh. I think it's horrible for the poor people that get eaten, but I'm like, well, that's kind of metal at least, you know, like, yeah. This arc is M. Night Shyamalan read this issue and came up with The Happening, I think. So we can move on.
All right, so Josh was not a big fan. Yeah, Yorko. That's some of the stuff that dude confessed to him as they were gonna be dying underwater from a tsunami. Dude just confesses all that to his boy right there.
Let me tell you.
Anyway,
Jesus Christ couldn't get that confession out of me if I did that and I was gonna die.
Oh, fuck. All right, issue number 19. The media criticizes the doctor after seeing footage saying, "How can we trust a heroin addict with global security?" Along with the accusations of him creating the wave. One of the presidential candidates guarantees an immediate ban on post-human activity altogether. There's an estimation of over 4 million dead over the last 7 days all around the world. Complaints of them only caring about third world countries and not caring about New York. And then, oh man, and then the dude that was like, "Oh, we're not picking enough rice to merit attention." And then we go to 20 million years BC, where Midnighter continues his interrogation. According to the doctor, 72 hours from then, the world will reverse its north and south poles in a final act of self-preservation. Over in Sydney, the doctor walks out of the and doors his way out once he's outside of the hospital because there's a bunch of people out there, like, you know, waiting on him, and he's like, you know what, I'm gonna door my way out of here. Over in Alternative 838, they discuss evacuating Earth's entire population to all neighboring parallel realities and how many refugees they can afford. The authority is willing to accept 10 million if they aren't carrying anything contagious. Midnighter jokes to Jack about seeing the female version of himself 6 months pregnant, and Jack says he's glad he never stuck around to meet the father, which I thought was kind of funny.
Yeah,
That
did make me
for some
laugh.
reason, no one wants. And then like for some reason, no one wants the 8 million Belgians. Like I thought that was fucking funny. Too, I'm like the Belgians. Like what they do? They set up a comlink for a global broadcast to tell everyone the world is ending in 48 hours and they need to evacuate. The doctors discuss Kriegstein has invented a doomsday bomb and wants to sink it into the Earth's core to bully the world into submission. Over on the carrier, Angie relays the options to Jack, and now they need to lease out superpowers to a certifiable lunatic. In Arizona, they meet up with the other doctor, and the Midnighter tells him he has 60 minutes, just like he asked for. And that's where the issue ends on that one. So another weird one. Go ahead.
I was just gonna point out some of the things I found interesting, but you go ahead. You go first.
No, I was just gonna say there's a lot of weird ass locations in this, like Alternative 838 and 20 million years BC. But go ahead. What are you gonna say?
I was gonna say some of the positives for me in this issue is just like I think it's neat to see the alternate authority team. I was like, hey, that's cool, like a little a gender bent team. So like everybody has like their opposite number is the opposite of them, right? So like the female Hawks Jack,
Hawksmoor,
yeah, Hawksmoor, and the female Apollo and Midlight. I just found that kind of interesting, and I do like because they're evacuating. I do like the panels of showing like everybody dealing with their packing and getting them like how that would be emotionally like dealing with all that as they kind of line up to go all these different universes through the doors. So I found that kind of interesting in this issue.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, for me, just a lot of weird locations and just the fact that they like are trusting this dude to, give him the doctor's powers for an hour was insane. You know, but it's like, I don't know what other options they had, but I don't know if that was the best thing they could have done. But I guess the only thing they had at the moment.
Well, I was wondering,
But
like, we see like a female doctor in the other universes. Like, can you not get that doctor to come over to fix this issue that you seem to be having? Like, do your powers not work here or something? Like, it's not really like your only thing is to give the Penguin knockoff the powers for 60 minutes, I guess. It felt a little weird to me, but I guess it's just to set up the next issue and fight. I guess that's gonna happen.
Yeah. Which, speaking of the next issue, number 20, it's the final episode of this arc, where the Doctor messes with Apollo and the Midnighter attacks him, but the Doc parries it and sends him flying. As he doors his way in, he asks if Jack is still around. Over in New Mexico, they attempt to distract the Doc for another 57 minutes. In the Garden of Ancestral Memory, the Doctor gets dirty looks from everyone, and they question the wisdom of his selection after recent events. In Mexico City, Jack tells the Doc that he brought him there because it's the largest city in the world, and he was surgically modified to thrive in urban environments. Swift is on her way to back him up. And I couldn't help but get a little chuckle out of the line where he's talking to Angie about why he had such a mad on for killing everyone.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, something to do with having an incredibly small penis, according to the back of his trading card, which that was
kind of funny.
The dog gets torn up but put back together, and Angie arrives to help as well. The Doctor is doing and saying some weird, creepy shit to Angie, which was kind of
very gross.
Apollo charges the Doc and punches his brains out as he takes him out to space. Doctor then tells him it was a mistake as he can eat the sun. The Doctor, meanwhile, back with his predecessors, says that he knows what he's doing. Jack orders the engineer to tell the carrier to self-destruct as they confine the Doctor to an empty planet. Doc says he doesn't have to travel through the bleed to reach former population. Midnighter arrives with the cavalry, but Doc burns them all except Midnighter and wants to reverse the poles. Suddenly, our Doctor arrives and asks the other Doctor why he isn't aroused by mass suffering anymore. The Doctor tells him about empathy for every living creature in existence. And he says he feels remorseful for his actions, but Apollo doesn't give a fuck and says his 60 minutes are up as he beams his ass up with his eyes. And everyone arrives back from the parallel universes. Somehow on the carrier, Angie and the Doctor end up in bed together.
Yeah.
And the final line of the fucking comic is like, let's just enjoy the good times while they last. So there you go. Lots of unlikely things happening, and that's the end of that arc. So Josh, what'd you think of this episode and this just arc as a whole?
Arc as a whole, I hate it.
Weird one, huh?
Issue, I don't really like the issue either, because like they have this really creepy shit happened to Angie in the past due to the Doc's powers, and she winds up in the same issue sleeping with the original Doctor, which also feels very gross and tropey, and I don't like it. And not in a good way. And yeah, I just they do that a couple times later on, and it's gonna be fucking weird. So for the most part, I'm not a fan. Not a fan of this arc issue, the Penguin. I think the way that the Doctor wins in the end is an interesting way. Like he gives him his powers, and eventually it kind of all that kind of the ultimate shaman stuff kind of comes back, like feeling empathy for every living creature. I find that kind of interesting, but it's kind of ruined by the fact that they make the villain do just really awful, terrible, disgusting things. So yeah, Not a fan, to be honest.
I gotcha.
Especially because it revolves around the Doctor, who I found like a really interesting character in the first series that we read.
The first 12 issues, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I definitely a weird arc, but I there's some stuff that we still have yet to talk about that is fucking weirder, I feel like. But
Oh yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
I don't disagree with you.
Not my favorite arc. But still I don't think not as bad as some of the shit we got coming up. Like I said, but yeah, I mean there's I don't know. If there's anything do I have anything good to say about this arc? Um Earth Inferno. I don't know. I just I think they fucked up with giving the powers back to the current
Yeah.
doctor's predecessor. Him doing that nasty evil shit, I think again is pretty consistent with what they do on this series. But I don't know. It's just all I could think of is just some of the art that is like weird with the faces again and all that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. No, I got you.
I don't know. It's
I mean, I'll be honest. Going forward, I hate pretty much everything that's going to happen as we talk about it. Like, I just want to preface this. I'm not going to have a lot of good things to say going forward. Like, we've kind of gotten past what I thought was good.
All right. Well, let's move on then. So the next thing we have is an interlude, which is a one-issue little interlude called All Tomorrow's Parties. We start off with a once upon a time, and the authorities' actions in Southeast Asia have many worried for the future. President Clinton plans to speak with Jack Hawksmoor. So let me stop right there real quick because I'm often confused about who the president is supposed to be because
right.
they're like, oh, here like it's President Clinton, but then in other issues it's like some other random president that I'm like they just clearly made up for this, for these comics. So it's like one of my big issues with this is like everything here is supposed to be kind of connected and like follow what came before it. But oftentimes I feel like a lot of shit doesn't matter and they're like they do stuff that like is just so different and like not at all really consistent with what they've done. Like I don't know, it's hard to explain, but like I just feel like stuff is sometimes like I don't know if it doesn't matter is kind of the point, but sometimes it feels like it doesn't matter, I don't know.
No, I got you.
It's weird. I have a weird thing with this series and how they do all that. But anyway, as we continue with this issue, which is the interlude, they Christine and Jackson arrive at the Ritz Carlton, and Jackson's a little salty over the authority and how he thinks they've been used and all that. The carrier is accelerating through superliminal existence to mark the anniversary of the ninth Big Bang, which is again more weird comic shit that they include in this little text. Apollo and Midnighter have a fun exchange at the party. In the engine room, the doctor and the engineer have a talk of life and death and angles and all this stuff. Jackson storms off. Angie and Jack have a conversation about becoming revolutionaries, and he says that Jenny's dream will put that into motion. They then see Jackson, and Jack says it was the doctor's idea to invite him, but then goes over to talk to him while Christine is like relaxing in like a hot tub or whatever, and is talking to some other woman who I believe's name is Flint. Is that her name? If I remember correctly.
Something like that, I think.
And then tells her that she hasn't had her period in 18 months. There's lots to talk about Stormwatch, which I get confused about because we didn't read that beforehand, which feels like maybe we probably should have a little bit. But oh well. Jackson says they're frightening people, and Jack says that they can handle it. Christine appears kind of like in his like I don't know if it's like in his head with like two others and and like they're like kind of messing with him or whatever. The doctor is in pain. And Jack asks him where Jenny is. He says Singapore. Uh they lose the doctor somewhere. He's no longer registers on radio telepathy according to Swift. Jack asks Apollo where Midnighter is, but he watches as Christine and Jackson leave for home. He proposes to her and says there's gonna be a change in the weather as they walk away in the rain. This one to me was weird as fuck because it's like a one-off little interlude thing, and I'm
Yes,
like, what's the point of this?
it's weird. It's confusing. Like it's what the fuck the issue because I have no idea what's happening. Later on, and it leads nowhere. It leads nowhere really. Like it doesn't really set anything up, or if it set anything up, it never got to it. In anything we read going forward, it's just a weird issue all around. Feels very strange. That being said, I don't hate it. It's just not like I said, everything going forward I don't really hate necessarily everything in this issue at all. It's just it feels like totally different from what's about to happen and what happened previously because it's just a weird party and everybody's talking and then they just disappear and I don't know. It's just weird. It's just a weird issue.
Definitely a weird one because yeah, like you said, they don't really go with it anywhere. At least not in this batch of issues that we read. I mean, maybe in the future of the other series they do, but as of right now, it didn't go anywhere. So yeah, for me that was just like, what the fuck are we doing with this? Like I wasn't expecting an interlude because the other 12 issues didn't have one, but I guess it makes sense to have one here because it's longer. But I also feel like if you're gonna like, why even have one? Like, why even make it longer issues? Just like keep doing the arcs, But that's just my thoughts on it.
I got you.
Which, by the way, here we start the Brave New World arc on this one. Which this is weird because, okay, issue number 22, we start the Brave New World arc, right? So we start off in Antarctica. Midnighter's old mask is found, and we got a team of super people walking around. One of them is complaining about the carrier, or complaining about the carrier being good enough for the OG team, but they were ripped off as the president promised them a state-of-the-art HQ on the moon, but they're forced to settle there. Then we flash back to the carrier 1 week earlier, as Jack is interviewed by some dude and talks about how their actions have saved thousands more lives, and he sent a stern warning to other aggressors because they mean business. The interviewer then presses him about the doctor and how he's a drug addict who should be expelled after failing to save New York from the mega tsunami. Jack, of course, only cares about his work and also states his quick thinking is the only reason they were able to still come back from it. Elsewhere, Angie and Shen discuss baby Jenny and how Apollo and Midnighter were thinking of moving away after the adoption papers were through, but Angie then senses something weird with the radio telepathy. In the junction room, Apollo and Midnighter discuss some things they had to work on. As a pizza delivery girl looks for the doctor, but she blows up and gets bigger, and the Midnighter says she must be at least 8 months pregnant, but she says she only had sex last night. And then this creature monster dude named Seth bursts out of her and smacks Apollo away while he tells Midnighter that this was the only way to sneak past the security features. And then he says, my mama named me Seth, Angus, Billy, Cletus, Bubba, Jamie, Clement, Callum, Cowie, the $6 billion bastard. And Shen hears the doctor screaming as in pain as Seth takes him and her down, with Angie following right behind as she tries to warn Jack about the 7 richest countries in the world send a genetically modified hillbilly to get them. And Seth reaches Jack and goes to find baby Jenny, but Midnighter takes her away and comes back in a fucking jet. And the other team prepares to send a message to the world to show them who's in charge again. This is where I like things. I'm like, what the fuck is going on with this shit? This was like the start of it for me, where I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Josh must have really liked this one.
So let me
Judging
tell
by
you,
his, the look on his face right now.
I got in voice chat with Majin, and I think Bigfoot joined when I was talking about this. I almost quit reading when I got to this issue. I hated it so much. I had almost messaged DT and was like, I don't know if I can keep reading this trash. I hated it so. I hate the language that is used in this issue. I hate the character of Seth. That is a disgusting character, which is pretty consistent with the Authority at this point, I guess. But I still just I despise it. I did not like this issue at all, but I stuck it out to try to finish, and I did finish all the comics. Obviously, I did not message DT and was like, I can't continue with this or anything like that. But this issue almost made me quit. Like, I found it just, I hated it so much. Like, they will censor the word fucker, but won't censor some of those other words that I'm not gonna say on this show.
That's actually a good point. I didn't even think of that. They do use a lot of colorful language in these comics, and it didn't even occur to me that they sometimes censor like fuck or whatever, but then they're like, here's all this other shit that we're just
here's these
saying,
horrible slurs for people.
Yeah, he's like Seth uses like the F word, the other one, not fuck, and then the one that the Brits use to call a cigarette, and you know the one.
Yeah.
He uses that one and like a few other things, and yeah, it's Seth is an interesting guy. Let me tell you, man.
Oh yeah.
What a character for them to make like the antagonist of this arc. I feel like.
Mm-hmm. And just a lot of the stuff with that
yeah.
character make me feel like it's just disgusting. Like, and I'm not gonna be like clutching my pearls or nothing, but it is like, well, I hear he's got I think that's this issue where like the implication that he's like a super pedophile and all that in this fucking issue. It's just,
well, yeah, because the pizza delivery girl. He's like, I don't normally, do this with like whatever the fuck he says, but it was the only way for me to fucking, get past your security features or whatever. So yeah.
And there's an implication of something in the White House as well. So yeah, I almost quit this issue. I have a lot of issues with what they chose to censor, what they chose not to censor. And it's also like, it's worse. This is just an explanation of why I feel this way. More than like, is it right or is it wrong? It's, I have to read it, right? Like I'm more connected to a thing when I read it, even if I'm looking at it with pictures, right? Versus like watching The Boys on Amazon Prime and them saying something. Like, when I'm watching The Boys, it's them saying something. I can separate myself from that. But when I'm reading something, I'm reading it in my head, and in a way, it's like me saying it. So I really don't like that. It made me feel gross. It made me want to not continue and not read it. And I just almost quit this issue to be playing with it. I almost quit reading it. Like, that's how much I really do not like this issue at all. I don't even really like this arc at all. In any way. So that's kind of like my issues with it. Like, my thoughts with this are not very positive, like, to be blunt.
I hear you. All right. Well, that's Josh's thoughts. Yeah, for me, this is also the point where I'm like, what is this? Like, what the hell is this character of Seth? Like, and then they just call him, and then he's just like Seth. It's like he doesn't even, I don't know, it was very bizarre. Like, this is the turning point for me where I'm like, I wasn't really feeling like some of the other stuff was strong either, but this is the point where I'm like, okay, we're going bizarro territory here. But then, so this issue started an arc, but then the one after this starts a new arc too, and I'm like, wait a minute, what? Because the one before that said 1 of 4, but then the issue number 23 is like transfer of power, issue 1 of 4, and I'm like, wait, what? But we start a brand new arc in the next issue. So we're with the new, which makes sense because we're with the new Authority team. They find the Southeast Asian refugees inside the carrier from earlier. While the carrier is spinning through respace, a realm that has to do it all over again. The Colonel, which is one of the new members of the team, is not impressed with speed, as the rest of the team finds a bunch of other dead refugees from the crash. They deliberate on what to do with the bodies, but end up sending them to the junction room and ejecting them. They toast over their secret atrocity and watch their show Powers That Be, which has kind of features some of the OG team. And we find out the names of the new authority that have been installed by Western powers as puppets. So we have Rush, the Street, the Machine, the Surgeon, Last Call, Teuton, and the Colonel. Suzette, aka Rush, then gets a call from the undersecretary from the U.S. State Department asking if they knew about the refugees. Then, to end the issue, we have the White House in D.C. getting blasted, and everybody's wondering what the hell happened, looking around for the president. But he tells them to call the authority. So this is kind of where this is also where I'm like, all right, I don't like this anymore, because we have this whole brand new team. They've pretty much replaced the old team, and I'm like, these people are terrible, and I don't give a fuck about these new characters. Is kind of my thoughts on this new issue and this new arc and where we were in the story at this point. But how'd you feel about it?
I feel the same as you. Like, I'm supposed to. This is, and it's such a like we're chilling with the other authority, and now we have to deal with. And the moment I see that it's an arc that I'm gonna have to put up with these fucking replacements that I do not like, I'm gonna have to put up with them for multiple issues, all the way to the end. So. Yeah, did not like it. I'm the same as you. Like I've said previously, anything going forward from issue 22 on, I just despise. For the most part.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, well, we can move on to the next issue, which is number 24. The Establishment debuts they pray as the new higher authority. Where the Colonel from the UK, the Machine from Japan, the Street from the US, Rush from Canada, the Surgeon from France, Teuton is from Germany, and Last Call from Italy. As their bullshit is being filmed, once the cameras go off, they want people to be. They say they want people to be convinced they're a faith-based organization, but not like the old one. Manhattan, Washington D.C., Monaco, Somalia are all places we go to next. In Southeast Asia, Kriegman is salty about giving the U.S. 50 years of imagination, creating a whole universe of superheroes, and he gets repaid by them holding his drawings hostage and using them to create the cheap knockoff New Authority. He himself, however, has dreamed up what he calls weirdies. Beverly Hills. Over in Beverly Hills, Last Call keeps calling Teuton and telling Teuton to control himself in public and quit crying, where people will get the wrong idea about them, and he doesn't want to be confused as queers like Apollo and Midnighter. Then Teuton requests assistance as an air attack brings down a firestorm there. And they say, space Asians? On the carrier, Machine says those warplanes are from Respace, the realm where they deposited the refugees. And then we find out that all those refugees are back for revenge. So yeah, another issue where we have to deal with this team. And yeah, I'm just like, I don't give a shit about these guys. I hope these invaders from Respace fuck them up, That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I don't give a shit about these guys.
Nothing really positive to say about it. We see the return of the Doctor, which it's like, hey, they didn't forget that this guy got recruited, I guess. So,
yeah, Kriegman.
Krieg, yeah. Because like before they recruit him, and then you don't even. I think he's mentioned one time after that. Again, so. Yeah. I have a lot to say on it.
All right. Yeah, I just this arc right here is just like this sucks, dude, because I just don't care about this team, you know. But in issue number 25 in Beverly Hills, there's napalm everywhere. Machine tells the colonel that last call has vanished from the radio telepathic link. CIA satellites located a new Colombian rebel stronghold. Two-Ton opens a massive door to it as he attempts to keep the warships fireworks aimed at the rebels below. Over on the carrier, the machine fills in the rest of the team into what happened with the Respace invaders. The colonel storms off after bitching to his team about their failure. Over in Respace, the people enjoy their new life and say the horror of Earth life is behind them. They imagine their second chance, and Respace makes it true. The real authority believed in a future like this for everyone. We also get the reveal of them taking out their masters from Washington to Paris to London to Tokyo, and they imagine their treasures as theirs, and to feed their bodies and firebomb the bastards to feed their souls. The main dude tells or messes with Last Call and tells him that he will be like the Midnighter in every way, including orientation. Back on the carrier, the colonel's quarters, Champlain action. He-Man of the Cloth arrives to read him his rights, but he makes his way through. The burden of leading the world while it's on its leaders are on its disabled lists troubles him, and the street can also see this. Back in Respace, the new authority arrive, and the colonel wants to level it. The main dude from Respace dreams them away and brings back the OG team. They return, and Jenny asks, "What have we missed?" Which at this point I was like, "Oh, thank fuck!
Right.
We're done with this OG team, or we're done with this rip off cheap replacements. We got the OG team back." But I was like, "Wait a minute, Jenny's back?" I was like, it's a little sus." But I was just glad that honestly that the new team was gone at this point. Is what I remember thinking.
Yeah.
And I really like their whole Respace kind of like, way they went about all of that stuff, which
The
we'll get to more in the next
imagination
issue as well.
and
But
power
yeah,
and yeah, that is kind of cool. I do agree.
that is what I liked about that. But for the most part, yeah, another issue where I'm like, this is shit about
You don't
this
like
shit that I
this?
don't care about.
You don't like this old team, this new team, DT? Well, get ready, buddy, because they ain't going anywhere. This next issue.
Yeah, you ready to move on to the next one?
Yeah, let's go.
So issue number 26. Back in Respace, the main dude called Din welcomes them, or Dina, or I don't know, D-I-N-H. I'm gonna call him Din. Din welcomes him back and tells him about the realm and how it is one of second chances, where unlike the on Mother Earth where they were called third worlders, here they come first, which I like that line there. That was pretty cool. In their gratitude, he brought them back using the crude fabric of their unworthy replacements and offers them another gift, a wish to change the world. While they're all trying to decide what their wish is, Jenny Sparks knows what it is. She tells Din tells her to touch the lamp and dream. And we go back to Earth as we see her wish fulfilled, which is total disarmament. Every weapon since the Gatling gun, all the neutron bombs and Uzis and sardine gas grenades, helicopters and gunships gone forever. The team rejoices, but Midnighter's head starts popping open, and we see that it ain't actually him, as he pops in and tells him that he likes girls because it's your boy Last Call, and he didn't go nowhere. The new authority is back again as they door out of there. In the carrier, the machine scans an immense discharge of unidentified energy over Earth as the colonel comes back on board. He congratulates Last Call over his, as he says, his homophobia saving the world. There's a summon to go to Arlington as the old man himself insists upon a report. The colonel requests Champlain action up to his room. The Champlain says he's going with him for the report. In the office of the old man in Arlington, they tell him their truth, and after in Yankee Stadium, the old man tells Colonel about Kriegstein's plan to send his super assassins to destroy him and how they want more oil from Alaska, but the environmentalists are getting in the way. And that's basically how this issue ends. Which is and how that arc ends. Which honestly, yeah, what a shit ass fucking arc, dude. I did not like this arc at all.
Mm-mm.
Now that this team sucks, man. They're terrible people. So why, it's like I don't, so I just I didn't.
I don't get the point. Like, what's the point of any of it? Like, whatever. I don't like it either. And I don't like the new team, and they are terrible people, and they only get worse.
Yeah, it's like, oh hey, I'm also a racist, by the way.
Yeah.
And a homophobe,
But yeah, we can move on to the next issue whenever you're ready.
So clearly Josh loved it because he had very little to say about it.
Oh, let me tell you, thrilled. How many times did I say I hate something? I just don't want to harp on it. That's all. Because like, it's an interesting conundrum, DT, because you and me both are like, we just don't talk about the things we don't like. Usually we just talk about the things we like. Well, what do you do when you're posed with the I hate everything about this, and we read it, so we need to talk about it version?
Yeah.
Like it's the first time I've ever really had this conundrum on the show. Yeah, I hate it. But yeah, we could continue on. Oh.
All right. So then from here, we go back to the return of the Brave New World arc, which we had already read one previous issue for, but then we got the last 3 to get through here. So this is the final arc of this, these last few issues. So the Authority number 27, we start off in Qatar. They continue to fight and reintroduce the team for some reason. I thought that was weird that we had already been introduced to the team, but then they're like, here they are again. But they fight a lot of people that were sent back in time. In the carrier, the new Authority discusses how the world just accepted the lies they told about the OG team. Over in the map room, apparently, when Seth ripped the carrier out of orbit, it caused some kind of hemorrhage in the bleed, and every reality known to man is heading to their direction over the coming weeks and months. Apollo is being used as a punching bag by Last Call as Teuton looks on. Apollo asks why kill the rest of the team and keep him alive, but Last Call says they aren't because people who are pissed weren't going to be satisfied by a mere bullet in their heads. Apollo asks if Midnighter is alive, but Last Call says he was the one who didn't make it. Swift settles down. She settles down and says she doesn't miss the stupid decisions that they used to make, but she does miss the friends who crashed the carrier over Antarctica. Thank heavens this new Authority has been vetted and sanctioned by their individual nation states. And her man that she settled with thanks the mind-controlled guys for their wonderful job of dehumanizing her. The Doctor's spiritual nirvana has been invaded and opened up to building contractors and fast food multinationals. Meanwhile, with the engineer, she's all wired up and hooked up on a hospital bed, and the machine tells her they swapped 9 pints of her blood supply with 8 of that from a heroin addict. And then the one dude says Hep B is a Caribbean cruise next to the mind fuck they're gonna do to her next. And Jack Hawksmoor is begging in the streets, all dumbed down as well. Seth says the people messing and laughing at them have the best job in the world, and he regrets not finding the Midnighter, with him being the most dangerous one alive at the moment. As we pan over to the last hope in the sewers, like a ninja turtle, the Midnighter and Baby Jenny gear up as he proclaims, "You boys just pissed off the wrong bastard." So heading back to this arc again, we see how they've fucked over the OG team, and the only ones that are still out there to kind of bring us back to where we were is Baby Jenny and the Midnighter, Josh. So at this point, what were you thinking? Being like, wow, this is where we're at, and we got the Midnighter and the Baby kind of being the last hope of the team, you know?
When we got to that last panel, all I could think is, thank fucking God. Thank God.
Yeah.
Like, actually getting somewhere now. A little bit, but yeah, I don't like the, hey, remember those heroes that maybe you sort of liked previously? We're just gonna torture the shit out of them for an issue. Enjoy that as we brainwash you into being a slave for this dude. For both of the women of Angie and Shin.
Yeah.
Yeah, hate it. But yeah, about the only positive thing is like when Midnighter's putting his glove on, it's like you just pissed off the wrong dude. I'm just like, oh, thank God, this is gonna be over soon. Which was also my thought every time I saw how many issues were left. Thank God, this is gonna be over soon.
Yeah, it's like we're on the last couple issues here. So let's go ahead and continue on.
Yeah.
Issue number 28. In the Doctor's domain, the surgeon explains how religion has been the biggest divider amongst the people and how diversity is the mother of alienation and conflict. He tells the people visiting him about the potential of exploitation and development there, and introduces them to one of their first experiments, the world's first mimetically engineered all-purpose pop god, Religimon.
Oh, God.
And they'll erase all memory of old gods, and there'll be no more wars, conflicts, etc. In the carrier, Rush attempts to fly it through some celestial sewage system. The Colonel tries to get with Rush, and when she says she doesn't do dudes, he says, well, she just hasn't been wined and dined by the right kind of bloke, and literally throws a fucking football in her face. The surgeon interrupts him and says he'll be needed for a moment. The Colonel wants him to call the president to get Seth up there because the Midnighter is back in. Over in the carrier's engine room, Midnighter and Jenny fool Machine while she has a little digital nervousness. Teuton beats up Apollo and tells him how he wanted to be more than the team with Last Call like he was with Midnighter. The man himself then comes in and pops Teuton in the back of the dome. They launch the street outside as the Colonel talks about how big of a racist he is to the surgeon, Rush, and the Machine. They also talk about how Midnighter, not knowing that he's actually there listening in on them. Seth arrives as well and tells them not to worry about Midnighter. He and Apollo then enact their plan as the fight begins. Then the final kind of section here of the issue is New York at the unofficial G7 summit. They discuss Seth and how powerful he is, and how they have like a failsafe to take him down because they're not gonna make a being that powerful without being able to take him down. As Swift is listening in on all this. But back on the carrier, Seth's taken Jenny and mortally kind of wounded Midnighter, it seems like. Apollo is pissed and ready to go. But that's the end of that issue. So yeah, we're removing all religion, Josh, and all the old gods, and we're just gonna pray to Religimon now, right?
Oh my God. That's so stupid.
Forget everything you knew before, because we're in new territory now.
That's so stupid. Yeah.
So this kind of sets up the final issue here with Swift being kind of, we don't really know it at the time, but she's there and she kind of is free of the curse, so to speak. As she listens in on how they're talking about Seth, so she kind of knows how to take him out now with this keyword that they have for failsafe phrase. But yeah.
The only good part about that issue is watching all the fake authority get their asses kicked by Midnighter.
Now we move on to the last issue, which is number 29, the final episode of the Return of the Brave New World arc, and the final issue of this kind of the 1999 The Authority comics. So let's do it. So Shen finds Angie in bed with her abuser and tells her that the implants in their heads aren't working anymore because the machine ain't either. She also heard about the cell safe, which I mentioned just before this. Dude tells her that they'll be on her so fast, but she pulls up the heads of the television mogul and the software billionaire. She then takes Angie out of there and says they need to go get Jack back as well. Over on the carrier, Seth tells Apollo the hole in the bleed is going to give them a more agonizing death than anything he could dream up. Apollo then doors himself and Seth out of the baby in Midnighter's reach and into the Arctic Circle. In the Garden of Ancestral Memory, things have reverted back to normal, and the Doctor has his gifts returned. As we go once again back to the Arctic, where Seth it looks like he's like kind of pleading to Apollo, and Apollo doesn't give a fuck and just starts wrecking his shit. But then Seth gets back up no problem and says that he's been messing with him. He says, "I got more superpowers in here that you don't even have names for." In the junction room, Angie, Shen, and Jack make it back. And Angie's a little disappointed she couldn't get revenge on the machine because they had, she had already been taken care of before that. Jack tells them the carrier counts 7 corpses and a couple of heartbeats, but one of them is barely hanging on as they find Midnighter and baby Jenny. The Midnighter reestablishes all points of radio telepathic contact with every member of the team and attempting to save Midnighter as well. Swift contacts Apollo, wondering why he's unaccounted for, but then Seth responds like acting or pretending to be him, saying he's caught up in the fight with Seth in the North Pole and asks if there's any way to actually kill him. Swift then talks about the code and wants to telling everybody that we have this code to disable him, and she wants everyone to use it the second they see him, but he literally doors his way onto the carrier with them and then just throwing Apollo as he enters. He then starts listing all of the things he's doing to each team member and the vast amount of powers that he's got while he's doing this. Seth is beating Jack. Jenny walks in and utters the phrase to disable Seth, which I thought that was crazy. They got the baby to come in and do that. And it's like, you talk now? Like, what the hell? But then they take Seth back to his farm and turn him into a chicken. Back on the carrier, Midnighter's vitals are crashing down. The Doctor says he's got 4, maybe 5 areas to work on if he's even got a chance. But he also can't do this and take care of the situation outside too. Jack asks what's going on. They tell him about the bleed. Unless we cauterize the wound, every parallel universe or every parallel world in existence is gonna breach the dimension in less than 42 hours. Jack says they should do nothing as humanity got themselves into this mess, and it's important that they deal with their consequences. It'll also help them appreciate what they go through every second of the day. He wants to focus on Midnighter and have the geniuses who created Seth a chance to see what they're really made of. He says the only way to save mankind right now is by letting them save themselves for a change. And then we like kind of pan to a bunch of cities: Sydney, the Taj Mahal in India, Paris, Washington, London, Moscow, and Tokyo. They're all celebrating, and the US president is talking about not having to be at the mercy of some clown in a mask who likes wearing his panties over his tighties. But then the Midnighter barges in and he's like, "Shut up and hail to the chief," and gives the president a symbolic gesture. And as we close out the issue with the arc and this run, on the carrier, the wedding of Apollo and Midnighter is underway, and they say that they've changed things forever now, and there's no going back as we end this run, Josh. So we finally have reached the end. Last final thoughts on this issue and this arc and just this whole run in general. Now that we finally reached the end, the conclusion of it.
Yeah. Like I said previously, wasn't for the arc. It's like everything is kind of back to the way it was before. And man, as a whole, the Authority, and I'm including the first 12 issues, is like
that's what I mean. The whole run,
the whole thing
first
together,
12 and these,
So the whole thing together, it's like, for me personally, this is me. Obviously, it's like, it was a slow start, was a good climb, got to a peak, and then it just fucking nosedived. Like, it just got considerably. It never got any better than when I was kind of liking those last issues. And then we start with these next, like the second half, right, that we're talking about right now, and I just was not having a good time. The writing got worse, the art got worse. Like, it was just all around. Like, whereas before, it took me a little bit to warm up to it. It took nothing for me to fucking hate it, which is what I did by the end of it. Which was, I did not have a good time with it at all. Really.
Josh is like, I'm straight up not having a good time right now.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. And it's like, well, it's like, what do you say? It's like, well, I'm glad it's over, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm glad we read it because it's they're gonna take. I find the characters interesting. Like, I find the characters of the Authority, Jack and Jenny and the Doctor and Apollo and Midnighter and Shen and the robot lady whose name escapes me right now because I'm having a brain fart. But
the engineer,
right? Yeah. I wanted to say the machine, but the machine is her knockoff.
The Japanese, the other one, yeah.
Yeah. Like, if James Gunn takes the characters and ignores everything else, I'm okay with that. I don't think he's going to do that. I think he's gonna pick and choose some of the edgier parts and just kind of refine them, I guess. And honestly, I see why he likes it. I don't know what they're gonna do with it, to be honest. But at least it just might end up being a thing that's not for me. Like a good chunk of this comic series is not for me. This was also written at a different time, right? Like, there was a lot of things going on. Like, they were using words that were pretty common in those days, I guess.
1999, early 2000s. I think this batch of issues was like 2001 or something like that. Anyway,
yeah, something like that. So yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see what they do with it. I guess I'm glad. I don't hate that we read it. I just hated the second half of it. So yeah, overall disappointed, I guess, would kind of sum it up for me.
This is so interesting because I remember, like, before we started reading the second half of episodes, Josh was telling me, "Oh no, I want to read more of the Authority. I want to get back into it." And now it's like, here we are, man.
Yeah. What a change, huh?
But hey, man, listen, we're not gonna like everything, And
well, that's the thing. I think maybe that might be why I'm so disappointed about it. Is like, it had won me over, right? Like, it had won me. I had warmed up to it. It had won me over. I kind of liked where it had ended, and I'm like, well, surely it'll continue. So wrong. Never been so wrong. I was wrong to be excited about it. I was wrong to be, I was wrong. I was just wrong. Yeah. I'm disappointed. How about you, sir?
I do think it's interesting that we finally got to, like, cover something on the podcast that we didn't really vibe with as much, because for the most part, everything we do like, or everything we have kind of gone over, we've liked for the most part, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, oh, here we have something that we didn't really mess with. So I'm like, that's interesting. You know, you're talking about not wanting to like, you know, hate on something or talk about something. But hey, man, if you're not feeling it, like, you know, talk
Yeah.
about what you don't like and all that stuff. Cause you know, that's the whole reason we're here, you know, is just to share our thoughts. And, you know, we covered this particular thing that, you know, is gonna be adapted in the future. And, you know, we wanted to kind of get a jump on it and like, you know, read it and for ourselves. And now that we kind of have an idea of the characters and maybe some of the stories that they're going to be telling in some ways with that. Um, so it's really interesting, yeah. So yeah, I would say it's very much a mixed bag for me this run. There are things I like, there are things I don't like, and I think the characters are. I think if you take the characters and kind of like pick and choose some of the arcs in this or you know some of the storytelling aspects of it, it could be pretty good, pretty interesting. But it just depends on how they do it. You know, it's like we're still, I don't know, several years away maybe from hearing or seeing anything about this, so we'll never know. But we've read the comics, and now if anybody asks us about them about this, or you know, we hear more information about, you know, what's to come with the movie, then we kind of know what to, you know,
Yeah.
what we're talking about a little bit, you know. So
Mm-hmm.
that's always good as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, overall just very mixed for me. Definitely preferred the first half of or the first you know, 12 issues other than, you know, more than this set of issues, but hey man, not everything's going to be a win, and you just got to, that's the beauty of it though, man. You got to fight, you got to experience it on your own, dude. Like read it, watch it, whatever on your own, you know? Like don't just go off what other people tell you. Like just check it out for yourself, because there's a lot to experience out there. And even if you don't like it at the end of the day, at least you can say that you've seen it or that you've read it or you listened to it or whatever, you know? So yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll
All right.
definitely be doing more comics in the future. I don't I don't think we're gonna be doing as long of runs as this. We'll probably do like shorter runs in the future. Just you know, just so we can be on the what's the word I'm looking for? Just so we don't have to like do too much, you know,
Yeah.
in one kind of set, because there was a lot of issues to read this run around, and I didn't realize that there was that many. But hey, it is what it is. We got through it. But yeah, we're definitely gonna choose smaller runs. Like I have some in mind already that I want to do. So we'll, you know, keep an eye out. We'll definitely do more comics in the future. But Josh, I think that'll do it for today, man.
Yeah.
I think that'll
Yeah,
do it for
guys.
today's episode. And yeah, I don't know. Any other closing things you want to say about this or no?
Nope. It's I'm glad we have the information. I say I'm glad we have the information tucked away in our heads for, like, because it's going to be interesting when the authority gets made into like what it gets made into in the future, and we can actually kind of talk about it, having read at least these comics about it, and can either warn people away from the comics or be like, hey, just read those first 12 and don't worry about anything else after that, you know, or whatever. You know, we could kind of give a little bit of advice on it. While I did not have necessarily the best time reading it, I am still glad we did it. You know, I still am glad I finished it. Even if it's was a little bit of a rougher time at the end. You know, I don't like to leave things unfinished if I can help it.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same. Like I want to, like if we start something, I want to finish it, even if you're not feeling it. It's like, well, we gotta at least see this through, and then you know for sure if it's for you or
Yeah.
not. You know.
There are some things I will make exceptions to that rule on, but I did finish this one. So, Yeah, nothing else to say on the Authority. I think that's gonna do it. I'm gonna go ahead and throw it over to you, DT, for your shout outs, because I need to go get food and stuff and kind of get ready for the rest of the evening. So I'm gonna throw it to you, bud. You're up.
Thank you guys for joining us on the second part of The Authority kind of review and sharing our thoughts on the second half of comics. This is the part 2, so you can go check out part 1, which we definitely enjoyed more. But hey, like I said, they can't all be winners, right? But at least now we know. But yeah, coming up for me, I have some games that I'm gonna be playing on stream. Tell Me Why, Spider-Man Miles Morales. Some more demos from Summer Game Fest, as well as Diablo 4. So stay tuned. All of that's gonna be happening here then in the next week. And then, well, some of that's gonna be happening in the next week. And then, yeah, go follow me on all the things you see on the sidebar here. And we will see you guys next week with the final episode or the final podcast of the month, which is going to be a retro rewind. And you guys want to know what movie it's going to be, because it's my choice. I'll tell you right now. So if you guys want to rewatch it, if you've seen it already, and come back and join us next week, it's going to be Flash Gordon from 1980. So go rewatch that, or go watch it for the first time if you've never seen it. And then we're going to talk about it next week for our retro episode of the month. So I will see you guys later. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for listening and watching. Bye-bye. Peace out, everyone. See ya.
All right. Thank you guys for watching the show. I hope I wasn't too negative, that I scared you guys away. But I've just given my opinion on things. And that is the thing I'm going to finish with is like, ultimately, if you like The Authority and I don't, just my opinion, man. Coming up for me, I don't know exactly what we're going to do the next couple days. Like I said, finish Horizon Zero Dawn, but maybe check out some of these demos from the Steam Next Fest stuff, so we'll see. But we have Final Fantasy 16 on, I believe, Thursday. Let me double check that. Yes, June 22nd. So Thursday, we will be starting that. I've already played the demo, which means I've already done the first part of the game, because that data I am just going to carry it over. If you haven't seen that, it is up on the Twitch in its own little collection, and it is also on my YouTube. So go check that out over at the YouTube, which all the links for are here on the side. I'm Josh902. I'm one of the hosts of the show. Thank you all for watching. I also run a dice shop, 902 Dice Creations, currently having a sale. Go check out some of the stuff on the shop right now. I'm working on some dice as we speak as well that will get put up on there fairly soon. And that's going to do it here for today. So you all have a nice day, a good rest of your week. Hopefully we'll see you in some streams, and we will catch you on the next one for Flash Gordon. Take it easy. Goodbye. And bye-bye. That is not the right button. That is also not the right button. I'm hitting all the wrong buttons.